leaders, Your Excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners, Nime, Kename, Togbio, Mamau, Nananum, heads of organizations and institutions, our dear youth leaders and women and men, you have already been welcomed back to the second day of this National Forum on Social Cohesion, Security, and Peaceful Elections. It is an honor, a singular one, to have you here to continue the crucial discussions on fostering a harmonious society, ensuring security, and promoting peaceful electoral processes. Yesterday, a strong foundation was laid by exploring the challenges and opportunities in the journey towards social cohesion and security. Today, we are invited to build upon that foundation with a focus on a concept that is integral to our success. And the focus is co-responsibility towards peaceful elections and peace building. Permit me to repeat. Co-responsibility towards peaceful elections and peace building. On behalf of my brother, Archbishops and Bishops of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, I'd like to thank you all for your presence and your expected participation. Co-responsibility emphasizes that peace is not solely the responsibility of government, of security forces, or of any single organization. Instead, it is a collective endeavor that involves each one of us. A collective endeavor which involves each one of us, namely citizens, traditional leaders, community leaders, religious leaders, civil society organizations, the private sector, political leaders, name it. Our shared commitment and collaborative efforts are essential in creating a peaceful and secure environment, especially as we in Ghana approach the upcoming elections. And I would like to believe there are going to be elections in other parts of our sub-region and even the continent of Africa. Dearly beloved, as we delve into today's session, let us remember that social cohesion is the glue that binds us together as a society. It is built on mutual respect, understanding, and the recognition that our diversity is rather strength. Our diversity is rather strength. By fostering inclusive dialogue and addressing the root causes of division, I believe we can build stronger and more resilient communities. Security, on the other hand, is the bedrock upon which peace is established. Without security, all our efforts towards development and progress are undermined, as you know. It is therefore our collective responsibility to ensure that our communities are safe and that the rule of law is upheld. This requires vigilance, cooperation, and steadfast commitment to justice. Permit me to again underline. This requires vigilance, cooperation, and steadfast commitment to justice, and a deeper sense of co-responsibility. Now to the third part. Peaceful elections are a cornerstone of any democratic society. As the MC said at the beginning, we are heading towards elections. And in Ghana, we talk about Kokromoti power. Kokromoti power. The power of this particular, fingerprint. And I remember somebody telling me, this is even more powerful than AK-48, AK-49, AK-50. However, it depends on how we use it before, during, and thereafter. Peaceful elections are a cornerstone of any democratic society, we have been told. They provide a platform for the expression of the people's will and are a vital aspect of national identity, but also particularly of personal identity. However, peaceful elections are not guaranteed. They require meticulous planning, transparency, and the active participation of all stakeholders. Underline it. They require meticulous planning, transparency, and the active participation of all stakeholders. By embracing co-responsibility, I think we can safeguard the integrity of our electoral process and ensure that the voice of every Kokromoti is heard. Today's discussions will delve into practical strategies and best practices for promoting co-responsibility in peace building. We are going to hear from experts. They will share their experiences. We are going to share our experiences and engage in dialogue and all that will enrich our understanding and inspire our activity hereafter. I'd like to encourage each of you to actively participate. Please share your insights and collaborate with each and every one of us. Our collective wisdom and dedication are the keys to the building of a peaceful, secure, and cohesive society. Let us work together to create a future where peace and security are not just aspirations, but realities for all. And those of us who happen to espouse one or the other faith, we know how much we are beholding to our Creator to be harbingers, to be architects of peace. Blessed are the peaceful, for they shall be considered children of God. I'd like to thank you for your presence and your commitment to this vital cause. Let us make the most of today's sessions and continue to build on the progress we have made. On behalf of my brother, archbishops and bishops, on behalf of the organizers, I welcome you. Let us proceed with purpose and determination. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Bishop, Most Reverend Charles Palmer Buckle. That's the Metropolitan Archbishop of Cape Coast, for that clear message that it is our responsibility and a collective responsibility to ensure that we have the peace that we want, the peace that we need, the country that we're expecting to have. And the word he used was which means it's not just one person, but a collective responsibility. A round of applause for him for that. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be proceeding to the next item on the list that we have here, which is to hear from the guest, the special guest, Reverend Dr. Fred Degbe. He will be speaking to us on the role of political actors in fostering social cohesion towards national development. As we welcome Reverend Degbe to the podium, let me share with you a view of his profile. So Reverend Degbe, Dr. Degbe, is a minister of the Ghana Bishops Convention. He has been involved with a number of Baptist Convention, minister in the Ghana Baptist Convention. He has been involved in a number of activities related to elections. I think most of us know him for being related to issues of Code, if we remember that. That is a coalition of domestic election observers, very vociferous on the issues of elections. I'm sure he will be giving us some apport for now as we go into elections. And we also know that he has also been involved with issues with the National Media Commission, National Narcotics Control Board. He's also been involved with All African Conference of Churches and a fellowship of the Christian Councils in West Africa, among others. Let's welcome Reverend Dr. Fred Degbe. He will be speaking on the role of political actors in fostering social cohesion towards national development.
Thank you very much, my lady MC, celebrating yesterday, today. And I'm not sure whose arrangement it is that I should follow the Wanzam. And those of his colleagues who were in the room saw the hostility with which he received me. So I'm standing here with fear and trepidation. If I miss my lines and I'm not making any coherent presentation, you can be sure that I would advise myself and change my location where I sit. I cannot be sure. But this quarrel between my friend and I, whose other name is Angela, goes back a very long time. So he didn't call my other name today, so he chose to call himself Wanzam. And I stand on all the protocols that he has very carefully established to continue my speech. Is that acceptable? We don't have too much of a choice. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Truly, it's my pleasure to be here today for us to continue with this topic or with this forum organized by the SPI National Forum for Social Cohesion, Security, and Peaceful Elections. I am glad that I took part in yesterday's discussion. It sent the chills down my spine. It caused me to go back and revise some sessions of my note. And I'm not even sure what to say to those I'm speaking to, but I'm sure by God's help, they will hear it. for the sake of those of us who were not here yesterday, the Minister for National Security particularly, some of the things that he said about where we are, the state of the nation, the state of our own neighborhood, those who are around us, Burkina Faso, the things that are going on there in our neighboring countries, are such that we ought to be very careful not only to talk about peace, but work towards it. When we heard the Full Bay people talk about the kind of things that are going on in their community and how incensed they are about some of the injustices, the National Peace Council is also here. So I will not bore you with some of these things, except to say that I am glad for the opportunity to present the roles of political leaders, what they are supposed to play in fostering social cohesion towards national development in Ghana. The timing for reflection is to look at the social cohesion that Ghana needs, especially as we prepare for elections. Social cohesiveness is the strength of relationships and a sense of solidarity among community members, and it is characterized by a few things, such as trust, a sense of belonging, and individuals' readiness to work together for the greater benefit of the society or the country in which they live. A socially cohesive society values variety, resolves disagreements amicably, and ensures that all citizens feel respected and are included in the development processes of the country. Social cohesiveness, Chairman, ties together our diverse society, enabling us to strive together towards our common goals and overcome the obstacles we confront as a country. I remember one of my astute lecturers holding his hand that if God himself intended for all of us to be the same, he would have made all the fingers equal. And since he didn't, then we should know that God is the author of unity in diversity, and we should not be smarter than God, but work at celebrating the diversity that he gives us that is right in front of our eyes. Political actors have critical roles to play in shaping the level of cohesiveness in a society which is needed for development. Their actions or inactions contribute to either strengthening cohesiveness in the country or widening the gap created by our different backgrounds. As Ghana is preparing towards election, I'll situate my presentation in the context of how political actors can promote social cohesion in the country. I will highlight the various roles that political actors in Ghana have to play to sustain our country's development. Firstly, to promote social cohesiveness needed for development in Ghana, political actors must build trust. The trust of citizens in the political system, which we have chosen to be democracy, and its institutions, is paramount. If citizens do not have trust in that, in their political leaders, no matter what we say, do, we will not have cohesiveness. Political trust is crucial in the sustainability of a country's political system. Political trust has declined in many democratic governments. In new democracies such as ours and some of the new ones around us, the trust of citizens in the state and its institutions such as the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary and the security agencies is paramount in achieving their development objectives. Political actors play a critical role in building the narrative and behaviors that build trust among citizens. Trust is an essential component of social cohesion, as said. And when political leaders act transparently, with integrity and respect democratic norms, they foster trust in society. This trust is critical for bringing various groups together and creating a sense of belonging. Keeping government and citizens' trust high is essential to social cohesion, and this can be achieved through maintaining accountability and transparency in government. Ladies and gentlemen, issues of perceived and experienced corruption that citizens have for the political class is a stumbling block to building cohesion, which is needed for development. Various scandals on corruption by the political class contribute to the distrust that citizens have in the political class, which as a result affects their level of contribution for national development or causes them to plunder their own nation, as we have seen happening in the world currently. I need not quote the Gen Z for anybody here. It seems overflogged. And I was listening to them recently, and the Gen Z are even analyzing what they are doing, and they are acknowledging that some people who have their own discontent have now been emboldened to join them, and they are looting even more than the Gen Z who think that they have something that they are fighting for. So it quickly tells me that that type of behavior is not really a solution to stability or national development, because it has its own demerits. And so those who talk about that in pictures that seem so glowing should go and hear the Kenyan youth talk and tell you what they are going through, that they've started something that they cannot really control because it's out of their hands, and other people have joined them. But aside from corruption, utterances of the political class that denigrate state institutions, such as the Electoral Commission, the police, the judiciary, go a long way to affect how people trust such institutions. Hence, impact on the smooth functioning of these institutions for national development. Surveys by the Afrobarometer attest to the declining level of trust that Ghanaians have for state institutions. And some of these are available online for you to find out, that I cannot go into this limited time we have. Again, trust is an integral component of social cohesion. To promote social cohesion, the political actor must consciously make an effort to address issues of corruption and be on the guard against unsubstantiated utterances that will affect the integrity of the state institutions as we go into elections, as they are powerful in having a negative impact on social cohesion needed for development. Some of you may remember yesterday, the National Security Advisor told us, the minister told us, well, in the past, people have gone to the courts to settle their issues. But the who is now, they are not going to any court because they don't trust. And what is it? It is the pronouncement of these same politicians that is leading us not to trust them, or is it anything that the judiciary has done for us not to trust them? Trust is a critical currency in the issue of social cohesiveness. Another way political leaders in Ghana can promote social cohesion is by promoting inclusivity, equity, and social justice. Ghana is made up of many different ethnic, religious, cultural groupings, and even gender. Political actors must advocate for measures that encourage diversity and equal representation. Political actors are responsible for addressing inequities and promoting equity. Social justice entails not only rectifying past grievances, but also ensuring equitable distribution of resources and opportunities. When political leaders prioritize equitable development and actively endeavor to decrease inequities, they build a sense of justice and belonging among the public. Political leaders may construct a more united society by ensuring that all views are heard and that all communities have a stake in national progress. Political actors must make sure that every person, regardless of ethnicity, religion, or socioeconomic status, feel represented and appreciated. This necessitates providing outlets for various voices to be heard and actively incorporating marginalized communities in decision-making processes. By doing so, we can create a more inclusive society in which everyone has a stake in the country's prosperity. Again, I must add here that yes, the voices are there and you listen to them. But depending on which station you are listening to, radio or TV, you will hear something from somewhere and you cannot decide which one is the truth because of the media ownership in this country. Having served on the National Media Commission for a while, I know it as a matter of fact. And most of you, you know it. When you turn on your radio or TV, you hear the same news, and you hear from the vernacular gymnastics, and then you come to the English ones, and then you see the morning host and the people they invite. By the time you finish, you would have been better off just praying to God and say, Lord, help me. So this is our nation and the drivers who are driving us. How does this help us? It doesn't help in national development. For everything, there's a spin to the left or right. If you say A, I have to say B. If you say B, I'll say C. So we can never find anything that is true, except, of course, a few things that both parties can agree on, which I will not venture into today because we are all Ghanaians. Now, brothers and sisters, when other groups feel they have been left out of governance, especially the minority, that's the women, youth, and persons with disabilities, it indicates a lack of inclusive representation and participation in the decision-making processes of government. In terms of representation, Ghana's female representation in parliament alone as of 2019 was 13%, with dropping levels of representation in high public offices and top government positions. The passage of the Affirmative Action Bill is the first step in the right direction towards improving a 30% quota of female representation and reflects the country's commitment to inclusiveness. Well, this was done yesterday, and again, I've lived long enough to know that passing the bill is a first step, but like all other structures that are supposed to be provided for in public places for you to access the place properly, if you were coming here today, I don't know how you went, how you passed the public place, whether those things have translated into proper action. And I've been reliably informed that nothing in the political parties prevents them from ensuring that this 30% happens at least in their own parties. Nothing prevents them, but except they themselves don't want it. But the law has been passed, and we are happy. My sister, we are very happy. This is not to say that it's not important. It is very important, and we must ensure that we don't leave it there, but we champion it, and we will support you to make sure it happens. To achieve the level of social security, social cohesion needed for development in the country, political actors must encourage dialogue and reconciliation. In a country as diverse as Ghana, promoting conversation and understanding among different communities is critical. the politicians should encourage open and honest discussions about our differences and similarities. They should seek to close the gap between groups, developing mutual tolerance and empathy. I am glad, Mr. Chairman, Archbishop Chairman, that you served on the National Reconciliation. Sometimes I look back and read some of those things with tears in my eyes, that a country supposedly full of hospitable people can be so callous to some of its own people. But at least the Reconciliation Committee offered an opportunity for us to see ourselves and hear what Ghanaians did to Ghanaians, to know that we all need the salvation and redemption of God and the change of hearts. But if we didn't have that opportunity, we wouldn't have known. And so reconciliation and forgiveness, national dialogue, and such public admonition by those who, public acknowledgement of those who feel hurt may not necessarily restore everything, but at least they'll feel heard. It is the responsibility of political players to promote candid communication and assist in resolving disputes. Political leaders can constructively address issues and assist in reducing tensions by fostering a culture of discussion. This strategy not only settles disputes, but also promotes respect and understanding between various communities. As we are going into the election, some political actors may try to employ ethnic or religious sentiments to their advantage. They may even go to the extent of resurrecting some past ethnic conflicts. To achieve peace for this year's elections, political actors must do away with exploiting our cultural and religious backgrounds for their political benefits. Their speeches must be focused on peace building in a culturally diversified environment. Again, referring to what we heard the Minister for National Security say yesterday, those around us are waiting. I was scared with what he said, that they are not only causing destabilization in your country, they want to rule, and they are appointing governors and people to take over states. Is that what we want? So when you are not united yourself about what you want, others will come and choose for you people you didn't vote for to govern us. And they take advantage of the divisions along ethnic, religious, and whatever divisions we have. That is why we need national cohesion. To achieve peace for this year's elections, political actors must do away with this exploitation of cultural and religious background for their political benefits. Their speeches, again, must be focused on peace building in a culturally diversified environment. I'm coming to an end soon. Ladies and gentlemen, while Ghana has enjoyed 30 years of democracy, gaps in our institutional systems and political decisions have hindered full national development. High-profile corruption, mismanagement, heavy debts, and partisan politics have weakened trust in state institutions. This distrust has further extended to religious, traditional, and civil society leaders due to the growing perception of their political affiliations, which is not steps in the right direction. However, Ghana has made significant strides with peaceful and credible elections, smooth power transfers, and electoral reforms. Political actors must make it their priority to address the declining trust in the institutions by addressing issues of corruption and be cautious in their utterances as regards the activities of state institutions. The unity of Ghana must be sustained for development, and political actors must take the lead through their actions. Finally, to achieve sustained and inclusive growth, we must address challenges, build on past successes, and prioritize social cohesion. This requires inclusive leadership, focusing on real issues, condemning hate speech, and investing in youth. By fostering unity, transparency, and good governance, we can build a prosperous, united Ghana and serve as a beacon of hope for Africa. Chair MC, I have two questions that are that are food for thought. I'm just asking myself, having written this and read it. Question number one. Is there anybody training these political parties about what it is like to rule a nation? Do they have the nation at heart? What is it like building a state? Are the political players trained? Secondly, is there any serious curriculum in our schools and institutions about nation building, how to behave as people of a nation? Yesterday, the ones from the NCCE were crying over here that they exist, but they don't exist because they are not funded. At least if some of these things were being taught in schools, we don't need a huge unfunded or underfunded NCCE. They would have been another shot in the arm. But basically, are we building this, or we are shouting at the top and nobody's listening? Are the political parties only working towards the next election by people who are fighting for their own interests and not have the nation at heart? I think we all, the religious, the SPI Forum, and all of us have a role to play. And I thank you, Nananum, Togbio, Nime, Name, His Excellencies, for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Degbe. Thank you very much for that. Obviously, a lot of questions to be answered by the powers that be. Thank you very much. If you are listening or watching us online, this is the SPI National Forum on Social Cohesion, Security, and Peaceful Elections, coming to you from the Accra International Conference Center today, and it's day 2. Let me use this opportunity to acknowledge dignitaries who have joined us here today, as has been provided to me. First of all, we already had him speak to us. Most Reverend Charles Palmer Buckle, thank you very much for being here today. He's the Archbishop of Cape Coast Diocese. Reverend Charles Palmer Buckle, thank you very much. Most Reverend Emmanuel Fianu. Most Reverend Emmanuel Fianu, thank you very much. Vice President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference and Bishop of Whole Diocese. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have Most Reverend John Lewis. Most Reverend John Lewis, thank you very much. He's the Auxiliary Bishop of Accra Archdiocese. Thank you very much for joining us today. Also from the Accra Archdiocese is Most Reverend Anthony Asari. Most Reverend Anthony Asari, thank you very much. Most Reverend Alexander Bazi, thank you very much. Thank you, SPI Regional Coordinator, and he is the President. Thank you very much for that. Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, he is the Board Chairman of the National Peace Council of Ghana. Thank you very much, Reverend Edujemfi. Okay. Right, and we also have joining us, of course, women. Our queen mothers are here today, traditional leaders. I have Togbe Bogbolulu. If you are here, the fifth, I believe. Let's see you. Thank you very much, Togbe. My apologies. Thank you very much. I think the cameras want to capture you, so I'll acknowledge you again. Togbe Bogbolulu, the fifth. If you would, thank you very much for joining us today. Of course, also joined by Na Obeye Dromo. Na Obeye Dromo, thank you very much. Mamaga Kosua, the fifth. Agube Kosua, thank you very much for that. Mamaga Agube Kosua, the fifth. Thank you very much for being here today. And Mamaga Nyabo. Thank you very much, Mamaga Nyabo, for joining us today. Thank you very much. We'll be acknowledging as we go along. At this time, what we'll be doing is giving the political parties the opportunity to speak to us. They are the reason why we're going to elections December 7. And they are the reason why everything happens around elections. We'll be giving them the opportunity to tell us exactly what they will be doing to commit to what we've heard about peaceful coexistence, inclusivity, and of course, building the issue of trust, which we all know that trust is a deficit in this country when it comes to a lot of things. And going into elections, I'm sure you've all been hearing the commentaries from the people. Trust issues. Everybody doesn't seem to trust anybody. So how can the political parties who are going to be there and asking for our mandates, what are they going to do about it? We'll hear from them. So the list I have, not in any particular order. If PPP is here, PPP, People's Progressive Party. If you come to the podium and tell us what you're going to do to commit to peaceful elections. So you introduce yourself and then you tell us. Thank you very much, PPP.
Thank you very much. The name is Progressive People's Party, not People's Progressive Party. That's just brief correction. Thank you. My name is Felix Mante, the Communications Director. I have my National Secretary seated there, Remy Edmondson. And I stand on all protocols. Thank you. For the Progressive People's Party, we are progressives. And everything progressive is stand by it. And the promotion of peace, especially during this election, we are for it. And since the establishment of the Progressive People's Party, we have promoted and stood by an agenda that ensures that we have a peaceful and cohesive society. So within our manifestos, for instance, we have promoted and advocated for inclusivity. Inclusiveness at all levels. No discrimination. We have to embrace our political differences. So if you're a political party and you win power, you have to consider how you involve everybody in the development of the country. And that one will ensure that we are peaceful because everybody will feel involved. We have promoted, for instance, our flag bearer for 2020 campaigned on an agenda of compassion. And anytime you speak to her, she will tell you, Bridget Jogbenuku, she will tell you that let compassion be the heartbeat of every Ghanaian, and there will be peace in our society. As a result, for our communicators, we have admonished them to communicate with civility, uphold the dignity that we have as a society as Ghanaians. So anytime you hear any of our communication team members, they respect our individual differences and give reverence to whoever they are communicating with or they are addressing. We respect institutions, and we have included those in our manifestos to ensure that institutions that need reform, such as the Attorney General's office, the judiciary, and things that will promote their independence, we have included in our manifesto so we can amend sections of the Constitution to build the trust the society needs. From what Reverend Degbe talked about, if all our institutions are trusted, I think there will be peace. So these are the things we have done within our manifesto over the period since 2012, 2016, and 2020. And 2024 too, we are promoting the same thing. So we can say we are committed to ensure social cohesion and peaceful election going forward into this 2024 election. And that is what we stand by. And we are in full support of this progressive move, which is being spearheaded by the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and we commit to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Progressive people. They are assuring us that they will ensure
critical areas of society. Alan Chamating believes that with the democracy in Ghana, which has been basically dominated by the two main political parties, basically forming a duopoly for the last 32 years, and haven't seen the outcome and the fruits of a very highly polarized society, it is about time that Ghana took the giant step of installing a president who will not represent only or mainly the interest of their political party, every citizen of Ghana, irrespective of their political, religious, ethnic, social, and other differing backgrounds. I think this platform is such an important platform that I felt we needed to deal with these issues. Each one of the institutions that we mentioned here and so many others have their constitutional and regulatory roles to play. But we can also talk about the experiences that we have had during elections, when there are complaints that the Electoral Commission, for example, may not have acted in the best of our interests in terms of the integrity of the processes. Sometimes state institutions like the police and the security services are accused of having played roles that are not particularly positive. And now, even the role of the president, and let me say that wherever, in any society, when the president sneezes, every one of us will catch a cold. So the body language of the president and very high officials of government as we approach elections becomes very, very critical. And I was worried by a recent statement that the president has made to the effect that he will find it difficult or cannot hand over power to somebody he has defeated in a previous context. I thought that that is a very sensitive statement to make. And for someone who is actually going to preside over the whole process and eventually have the responsibility to hand over peacefully to the next leader, to have said that, I thought it was a matter that we needed to address on a public platform and to appeal to the president that it is not his duty to decide who he passes the baton over to. It is the people of Ghana who will vote, and the Electoral Commission umpire the process, and all of us participate in the process, and whoever the people decide, whether it is the president's anointed or not, once it is the people's choice, the president ought to hand over to that person without sending any signal that he is not comfortable. I believe that if we take note of some of these things, we won't just be talking about these issues year in, year out, election in, election out. We will begin to see the things that actually bring about peaceful, cohesive societies. Alan Chamating's record as a public servant and as a politician is an open book for everybody to read. He's a peaceful man. All of us who have worked with him, and I myself have been in public elections and at the forefront of elections and politics for a long time. We are very well known. Our commitment to a peaceful election process and a cohesive society can never be in doubt, and we reaffirm that position. With that said, Mr. Chairman, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nana Ohene, representing the movement for change. A round of applause for him. Next, we'll take a message from the LPG, Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. RC Atipo, if you are here, RC Atipo, National Organizer and Logistics Manager for LPG. Remember, you are supposed to state your case and your commitment to peaceful elections in Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everyone. I bring you good greetings from His Excellency Kofi Akpaloo and all the LPG family, Liberal Party of Ghana. Like all being said and done, we are in for peace and nothing but that. Peaceful election and right one for the youth. We shouldn't read blind. We shouldn't watch those who are coming with violence. We are for peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aaron. I think my microphone is off. Thank you very much, RC Atipo, representing the Liberal Party. That's the LPG, Liberal Party of Ghana. Thank you very much for that presentation. Next, we'll take the People's National Convention, PNC. People's National Convention. If you are here, PNC. Is PNC here? PNC, represented by Hajara Ali, Vice Chair, PNC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, all protocol observed. My name is Hajia, as it has been mentioned. I'm here representing the PNC. And for PNC, we are always committed to peaceful election. The party was formed in 1992. But never have anybody heard about PNC being violent. Because we believe that without peace, there will be no development. And we don't have any other country other than Ghana. So if we don't support it to be developed, and we decide to create confusion and violence all over, how can we be recognized among the community of nations? So for us, we believe that peace is very, very paramount in development. So therefore, we are committed to peace, non-violent election, fair, free, and transparent election that will lead to a peaceful coexistence among ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. PNC committing to peaceful coexistence and committing to the Ghana agenda. Remember, the agenda is Ghana. That's why we're here talking about a forum for peaceful cohesion, the SPI Ghana National Forum on Social Cohesion, Security, and Peaceful Elections. Very soon, we'll be rounding up on the political parties' commitment to peaceful elections. For those who are represented here today, we will also be hearing from the Ghana Journalists Association, who is represented here by the President, Mr. Albert Jumfo. He will be speaking to us in a moment for us to understand the role of the media in all of this conversation. Let me invite to the podium GCPP, if you are here, the Great Consolidators People's Party, Great Consolidated People's Party. Okay, thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm George Amu, I represent GCPP. On GCPP, we believe in domestication. Grow what we eat and eat what we grow. It means that anything good for Ghana is what we support. And if there is a peace program for Ghanaians towards this election, what GCPP is urging Ghanaians is that peace, political tolerance, no violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Great Consolidated People's Party, your commitment to peaceful elections in Ghana. In a moment, we'll have Mr. Albert Jumfor come up to speak to us. But let me acknowledge the presence of the Electoral Commission, of course, the Electoral Management Body of Ghana. A lot of work on their shoulders as we head to December 7. The Director of Electoral Commission, I think Electoral Services is here, Benjamin Bano Bio, if you wave to us. Mr. Benjamin Bano Bio, thank you very much for joining us today. We also have in our midst the Deputy Commissioner of SHRAJ, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Mercy Labi. Wave to us. Thank you very much, Madam Labi, for joining us today. Of course, we are also supported, I would say, from our partners. This is the international community who have very much interest in Ghana's election. Represented here today is the political officer from the British High Commission, Cecil Sampson. If you wave to us, thank you very much for joining us today. We also have from the German Embassy, representative from the German Embassy, if you wave to us, Maximilian Groman. Maximilian, thank you very much for joining us here today. We will be listening to the Ghana Journalists Association. Mr. Albert Jumfor is next to speak to us. If you come up the podium. Let's welcome President of the Ghana Journalists Association. Elections without the media is no elections. Of course, the role of the media is very, very important, and the media has been doing a lot of work is also expected. Let's acknowledge the work of the media, led by Mr. Albert Jumfor, President of the Ghana Journalists Association. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Becky, and good morning to you all. We've been listening to the political parties. We hope and pray that they will stick to their words, and because they are the people who have been stoking fire, inciting and initiating all this tension. So we just hope that they will stick to their ways. The president of the Catholic Bishops Conference, Reverend Matthew Jemfi, can see the chairman of Peace Council here. Permit me to stand on all the protocols duly observed. It is an honor for me to address you today at this all-important forum on social cohesion, security, and peaceful elections. Permit me to extend my gratitude and felicitation to the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference and the Catholic Relief Service for collaborating with the media and, most importantly, the Ghana Journalists Association. The GJA is excited to be part of this forum owing to its significance to the deepening of our democracy and the fact that it aligns with the objective of the GJA. The theme of the forum, building a more peaceful and cohesive Ghana, a collective endeavor, could not have been more appropriate given the fact that peace building requires a collective responsibility, including the media. The media has a crucial role to play in consolidating the gains we've made in the area of peace. Mr. Chairman and ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the upcoming elections, permit me to highlight the crucial role the media plays in promoting peace and stability during this critical period. The media has the power to shape public opinion, influence voter behavior, and hold leaders accountable. I must emphasize, however, that with this power of the media comes a great responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, to promote peaceful elections, the media must, 1, provide balanced and impartial reporting and avoiding sensationalism and bias. 2, focus on issue-based reporting rather than personality-driven coverage. 3, give voice to diverse perspectives, including marginalized communities. 4, fact-check and debunk misinformation. In an era where fake news, polarizing narratives, and disinformation spread like wildfire, it was therefore important for the media to remain alert and fact-check what comes through to them. Ladies and gentlemen, the media must encourage civil discourse and peaceful dialogue. Hold leaders accountable for their actions and promises. We, as the media, must never allow politicians or any group to lead us into temptation. We must be firm and resolute in protecting the peace we are enjoying. By doing all this, the media will be contributing to the reduction of tensions and conflict in the country, increase voter awareness and engagement, promote transparency and accountability, and foster a culture of respect and tolerance. As the fourth estate of the realm, we need to and must support the democratic process by exercising restraint and adhering to the ethics of the profession. Chapter 12 of the 1992 Constitution talks about the freedom and independence of the media. But the freedom of the media and being independent does not mean discharging your duties in a manner that threatens the peace of the country. Let us work together to ensure that our media landscape contributes to peaceful and credible elections. The future of our democracy depends on it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to inform you that as an association, the GJA has taken several initiatives that promote peace. One of them is the GJA U.S. Embassy Peaceful Journalistic Discourse. The peaceful journalistic discourse enabled the GJA to train and build the capacity of journalists on issues of hate speech, misinformation, and disinformation, and above all, ensuring peace during the elections. We have trained journalists across the country to prepare and position them ahead of the December elections. Ladies and gentlemen, in a country where the ruling government is bent on breaking the eight, and the opposition is determined to stop the eight, you can imagine how crucial the 2024 elections will be. That is why we have positioned our members in preparedness for the task ahead. It is said that a well-prepared and informed journalist is not as relevant than when elections are being held. Election challenge democratic institutions like ours. However, I can assure you that, like we always do and we have always said, the media will rise to the challenge. Let me use this opportunity to express the GJA's commitment to whipping our members in line with this objective and vision in order to ensure peace during the elections. Let's all give peace a chance. Ghana is the only country we have. We can't afford to lose the peace that we are currently enjoying, so the media must guard the peace jealously. Also, the political parties, religious leaders, and CSOs must all be involved in crossing the hurdle of peace. And before I resume my seat, we have always said that one of our key roles is to protect institution of state. This year, we are going to be seen as protecting institution of state. As Barack Obama said, we need strong institutions, not strong individuals. We are going to do that. And also, I have always cautioned, and we've always said, recently you've realized that the GJ and the other media bloc has formed an alliance called the Media Coalition. And we have started cautioning and exposing unprofessional and unethical behavior in the media among our members. And let me take opportunity to once again caution politicians, a group of persons who have the tendency of attacking journalists, that in this election, if you don't have the temperature or commitment to accommodate journalists, you stay away from us. Because if you come to us with hostility, we welcome you with hostility. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Mr. Albert Jufo, President of the Ghana Journalists Association. I think he sent out a caution this is probably directed to politicians and persons who attack journalists. What we are doing is that attacking the very space that we need to propagate the message, and message such as message of peace. And so even as we are cautioning journalists to be responsible in their reportage and utterances, we also say that people who are beneficiaries of the media, politicians, especially during this time, will need to be careful and guard the space, because we will need that space together to be able to protect the democracy that we're all working towards consolidating. So thank you very much, Mr. Abedjufo, for that. And in a moment, we'll be taking a snack break, unless we have any other political party here that hasn't come up to the podium. We'll be taking a snack break, and then we'll come up to the finality of the program, which will be a panel discussion on ensuring peaceful and inclusive elections in Ghana, strategies and collaborative approaches. It will be a time to strategize on how everything will be done at the end of the day. So we'll be taking a snack break, but before we do that, I'd like to crave your indulgence. Persons on the high table will move to join participants and make way for the panelists who will be joining us in the next session. So yes, you are free to grab a snack whilst persons on the high table. Oh, wait, 1 second, sorry. I've just been reminded of something. We need to hear from the Electoral Commission of Ghana, very important. Mr. Banobio, Director of Electoral Services of Ghana, will be telling us where they are regarding December 7th. Very important. We need to hear that. We will have to hear that before we break for the next session. Mr. Banobio, let's welcome him to the podium, Director of Electoral Services of Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Banobio.
Good morning to you all. Honorable Wansam, I wish to pray with you to allow you to stand on the protocols established. But if I don't do that, I may not go home complete. Thank you for that. As you are aware, a lawyer friend once told me this is an ambush litigation. You know, I was not part of the program to speak. But as the adage goes, then men since you want son or harm, so we are ever ready. Thank you. Yes, December 7, we are going to have general election. An electoral commission as an institution in charge of election management in this country. We know and we believe and we trust that peace can only be assured only when the results that will be declared will be a true reflection of the desire of the people who voted. We are all talking here, peace, 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 peace. As doctor indicated, we should not only talk about peace, we must also work for it. And we at the Electoral Commission are poised to do just that. We have put in place a robust electoral system that will ensure that nobody can have an advantage over the other candidate. It's very transparent and very verifiable, such that no one can cheat without it being detected. We are going to ensure a level playing field for all candidates. And we are also effectively educating the public. Because when the public are well educated, they are able to make informed choices. And that we are committed to do that. We have also established durable partnerships with our critical stakeholders, such as the police, the political parties, the media, and the rest. We are working with them, and we are deciding on major issues as to the way forward. And as we are aware, IPAC has helped us, contributed immensely in most of the development that we have had in our electoral processes. For now, we are working on our voters register. You know that elections in Ghana is register-based. So we are working to ensure an all-inclusive voters register. We did a limited one in May, and from tomorrow, the next day to the 3rd, we are going to do another mop-up registration. We are doing that to give opportunity to Ghanaians who have not registered, even though qualified, to do so. And those who have just turned 18 after the last limited registration also have their names on the voters' roll, so that in the end we'll be able to have an all-inclusive voters register. We have also undertaken certain activities that will enable our cherished voters to vote from the place of their convenience. These include the transfers of votes, which we have done. It enables voters who have changed locations to transfer their vote to their current location so that they can cast their vote without much stress. We have done proxy voting, and we have also done with the special voters list, where voters who involve electoral activities are given opportunity to vote earlier on the 2nd of December before the main election. So we at the Electoral Commission, Mr. Chairman, I want to assure you that we are committed to ensure that we provide very free, fair, transparent, and incontrovertible elections. And as I indicated, we have put in place measures to ensure that the results that will be declared will be a true reflection of the desire of the people who voted. We believe that that is the only thing that will ensure and sustain the peace that we enjoy in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banobio, for that assurance to ensure that the EC has a robust system to guarantee trust in the electoral process, which is something that we all need to hear. Thank you very much for that. A round of applause for the Electoral Commission. We need them in as much as they need us. Thank you very much for all the hard work. Let me acknowledge USAID, if you are here, a representative from the USAID. Thank you very much, Christopher Grady. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much, Mr. Grady. We'll be taking a snack at this point. For those on the high table and those who were at the VIP, we'll move to VIP. The rest of us will be at the foyer. So it's snack time. Rest of us at the foyer. and those who are at the VIP will move to VIP. Thank you very much. Okay, we're back after 20 minutes to continue with proceedings. Let me remind Mr. Festus Obeng, if you are here, you want to proceed to the podium at this time. Festus Obeng.
Those at the podium will come and take a photo outside. Right now, group photograph right now, the VIP table.
Change in program. There's a group photograph. So high table.
Assassini e a boden de maye moja nananu shegu edigu on maye adrumene wonso so say be piatwa so mientra so kutu krani na pese minkule
One mic pour mon pays de Ghana. One love pour nos mamans Africa. Kumasi all sacrum Charlie. J'y vais depuis que j'suis môme, c'est Waté. Oh, and you n'étais Abba. Et c'est même pas du Azonto, c'est ça. Mon passeport est français, Charlie, mais je sais d'où je viens. Je suis fier de mon pays, fier de mon Ghana, fier de mon ethnie, fier d'être Ashanti, fier de mes sœurs, fier de mes frères. On avance tous ensemble, Charlie One Love, prêt pour la victoire, Charlie Black Star. Au Ghana toujours le sourire, on vit comme ça. Chez toi c'est comment chez nous c'est l'amusement. Dans la musique capou fait tout le monde est content.
Shiva Me by dear Ben, Miss Ewo, me Oceania, me fear cropon as you couldn't. Na mat to send your bone recro ye jeding or continue. Into what giant quangy, ma ba, Sam Meshania metino. Me too chrome hop pet, or fear edicanga me do humuno, mete. Na me con who is say, or penning pamio, my dear, you're in Nikente. Ja. Kwame oni madia yoni kente dinga minyame boy pe na dwom no de ne ho abehye mano Betina me danga me dem wanu no retie me dwom no na mo a mo ni manager dwom ne ne de e call won so ara ye ma me je amabo no sang won bi na se me nya me frɛ dwom na won nyine je so kro 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 hey 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 kro hey kro hey kro 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 hey hey kro 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 hey hey kro hey kro hey kro na ye me do drum no yani papi de na wo peti e mama ni take se me nya bremi pariko na me do fie be me kwa him fie na antisibo mrante ne maba mo friend kwa krabri mo fra o boy be boy wo nyinara be shremi so missy nipa nko ebebo aho ofi biara mu ankotri anka dowa eyi na mehwe ikom na missy na nipa domi amane ebempo na same bo won a ebeso won ani eni edi me bon rekentedwum yara ehwara na mede mahihye so na otia mi na som na manfo no nyina jesu na efi ho ufa kronum benkum ana nifa epue ana ataya wo beti
Them say me no fit jump, them say you no fit jump, them say we no fit jump. Them say we no fit jump, them say you no fit jump, them say we no go fit jump. I'm a girl when you want to move in a cha-cha, catch you more where walk out of my head. Get a jingle, son, you mama. Nagbe, why you know? Get a jingle, son, you mama. Padi, get a good, you know. Get a jingle, son, mama. Kumbre, kwedu. Get a jingle, son, Gengenza ni mama. Tsunami baby yo. Gengenza mama. Gengenza ni mama. Gengenza ni mama. Gengenza ni mama. Gengenza ni mama. Gengenza mama. Gengenza ni mama. Mansa musa you know. Sundiata you know what you're showing. Nagbewa you know, Fiasiri you know, Padike you know, Kumre Kwedu, Sumilin de Ura Tapa, Kinyabudu you know. Rosa Posumucha, when your mama chibo. Sa.
Participants for questions, interventions, comments, and any other clarifications that you may have towards ensuring peaceful and inclusive elections in Ghana. Remember, it's about strategies, how we can collaborate, and the approaches that we need to ensure that we arrive at that goal of having a cohesive society towards elections in Ghana. Without much ado, let me introduce the panel who are here for right now. I have seated to my right Dr. Festus Obeng. He's with WANET. He will be speaking about WANET and all of that when he makes his presentation. Next, I have Joyce Nyame. She's with Youth Bridge Foundation as a programs manager. And then the next one can't be missed. Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, National Peace Council. National Peace Council. Honorable Francis Poku, former Minister, National Security. Honorable Francis Poku, if you give us a wave. Thank you very much for joining us on the panel. The others will join us as and when they come in. We'll go ahead and start. The first person that will be speaking to us, obviously, has to do with issues of peace. Reverend Dr.
From this program. The The Peace Council is working to deepen religious tolerance, particularly in the northern regions, to enhance religious and peaceful coexistence. The Council, with support of the United Nations Office in West Africa and the Sahel, is currently embarking on consensus-building dialogue in 5 selected regional capitals ahead of the December elections. 2 have been held already, one in Tamale, which was held last week, Thursday. Second one was in Kumasi yesterday. In fact, I flew in from Kumasi this morning to be part of this meeting. With support from WANEP, the National Election Response Group, NEG, has already been established to handle early warning signs before, during, and after the elections. These are some of the activities. Thank you very much. These are activities really.
Hello?
These are activities directly related to elections. And I must say that this is besides, as at the count of close of last month, the Peace Council has on our decks now 703 cases that we are handling across the country. Majority of them being chieftaincy and land litigation issues. So apart from all the politics that people are screaming, there are several things going on across the country in relation to the work of the council. What are some of the future activities? There are plans to hold a dialogue with media houses and media owners and editors to discuss how we can sanitize the media space. After we give them the code of conduct, we'll still realize a lot of things are going on. And this time we don't want to just meet with reporters. We want to meet the media house owners themselves. But at our dialogue yesterday, we were told that currently we are having close to 700 media houses in the country. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but that is the challenge we have. There's also a planned dialogue with religious leaders and prophets. This is also in the pipeline. It's one tricky thing, but we are determined to do it. We've all been there before. Majority of us are religious leaders. We know what it means. A friend of mine who's going to be with the Lord used to say that the unctioning of the Spirit does not nullify the functioning of the gumption. The fact that the Spirit of God is upon you doesn't mean that your brains don't work. We have to talk about these things. The MPC plans to hold the Presidential Peace Pact this year before the general elections. We know it's going to be tough, but we'll work towards it. We'll also be setting up our election situation room, and then we'll be doing post-election activities to see what happens after the elections and what we need to do. So these are just highlight of some of the things that we've done and we hope to do. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Thank you very much for that, Reverend Ernest Edujemfi. National Peace Council obviously is doing a lot. Just to hear that there are 703 cases being handled across the country alone gives me a sense of, not only is it about chieftaincy, there are litigation, and he said so many other issues. I'm sure going along, we would want to know some of your strategies as we go along. But for now, we'll go to the next person to also give us a presentation. Thank you very much. A round of applause for Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi from the National Peace Council and all the work that you've been doing for Ghana. Obviously worth commendation. Thank you very much. We will be listening to Honorable Francis Poku, former National Security Minister, National Security Issues. Honorable Francis Poku, your submission for status. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On this occasion, I find that I am on my own. I can only explain to you how I would handle the current situation, and then also I'll share with you my own assessment of what will happen before the 7th, during the 7th, on the D-Day, and the events that will follow. So, the Honorable Minister for National Security, he was here yesterday, so I was very... and waited...
Hello?
Because he is the current minister, and in my role as a pensioner, I waited for him to give the current assessment, which was very, very valid yesterday, and I appreciated his honesty, integrity. He said it as it should be, and I was very happy yesterday. So I'll focus on sharing with you my own vision of how I would deal with the events before the 7th. Let me share with you some of my strategies, and the advantage of a pensioner is that I can give you a little bit more insight than I would do if I was in office. We're having a security situation with this election. If things were normal, we wouldn't even need a security presence at the various polling stations. And I pray for the day that you will just go in and vote. But there are certain challenges we have to deal with in this country. When you look at security strategies, we have what you call the top-down, that is at the highest level. They are making decisions. The executive, the judiciary, legislature, they are making decisions. But the public response in this country has been very poor. In terms of letting the executive and the various organs know what we feel. Because what happens in governance is that you are looking at the public reaction. And in most cases, you want to measure the level of response. If you think you can get away with it, why not? So this bottom-up approach has been very poor in this country. How would people go to their constituencies and see that, for instance, the water is contaminated, and they come back to drink what we are drinking now? Are you not from the village or from the town? So the issue we have to deal with is the way we react to events, from whatever level they may be. I'm saying this because it's going to be critical this year. Whether Ghana is going to survive or not will depend largely on a forum like this. Not just sitting here and going, but your response must be very clear. The public must be able to decide what they are going to do if anybody threatens peace. If we don't do that, it will just be a nice gathering with no effect. So I would, first of all, let me go through. The first thing I would do is to assess the level of threat. Is it be just one of those? Sometimes you see the security threat, but you believe that you can get away with it. And it has been done before. You look at the level. So how would I respond? What is the level of the threat that we are facing? And if I identify the threat, the next thing is to try and deal with the response. What is the kind of response? And that will be based on my own assessment, analysis of the situation. And then play the role of a prophet. It's a lay prophet based on human behavior. The behavior of the political class, the behavior of the public. If there was any disturbance, the public go along with it. How is the public going to react? So this is very important. So if I am taking the decision, seventh, what would the public do? What would they do? What are the plans of the various political parties? How desirous are they to have their own way? So this is why we are here. Each and every one of us, every institution is assessing what is coming before us. And on this occasion, the end result will be, if the response is not adequate, we will have disturbances. If the response, you see, I assess the threat, but then I also have to assess the countermeasures. What can we do to make sure it doesn't happen? We don't come to this kind of forum and then walk away with resolutions. In practical terms, how are we going to respond? Effectively. Effectively. You don't leave it for somebody to decide or for a group of persons to decide. That is not enough. We will say it's going to happen, and it will happen. It will happen. But seeing the threat is different from the countermeasures. How are we going to respond? Effectively. And it must be very effective. Now, I'm saying this because I'll go with you through a historical approach. I'll go through some of the elections, and then we will, it will help you to make this assessment. And let me narrow it to the Fourth Republic. Recently, we were at the military camp to assess 31 years of the Fourth Republic. So we did, and I ran through the history, the security history of this country. Unfortunately for me, I've served in 7 different governments in the security service. So I'm in a fair position to be able to get a near accurate assessment of what will happen. As I say, seeing the threat is different from what is going to happen, but we have the chance to respond effectively. So let's go through the Fourth Republic. We had a 1992 election. The public mood at the time was, look, let Jerry Rawlings go. After all, look, he will go. 2 terms, we'll be ready for pure civilian government, not originating from a military government. So the general mood, 92, let it go. Then 96, quite close. The public knew that it wasn't a good election. But let it go, 96. 2000, surprisingly, there was a collaborative effort, but even between the then government, the NDC, and even the MPP, that if the MPP won the election, let them go, because we are all tired. And surprisingly, if you look at the trends, the background trend, there was an agreement that, look, we've had enough. So fortunately, 2000 and 2000 election, there was a general agreement that there was a need for a change. And as I said during my talk at the Staff College in the military, surprisingly, we had a good support from the military that we need a transition. We will frustrate any attempt to destroy democracy. So 2000, it went well. I was in charge of security from 2001 to January 2008, and generally, there was no problem. So much so that 2004, we were not expecting to lose the election. No. In fact, the former president didn't campaign much. And it's one of the few elections where the government didn't overspend. No. In fact, I had to remind the former president that, hey, are you not going to campaign? Because he was so sure that he would win. So there was no problem. 2004, no. Of course, 2008 was problematic. And it was a near miss. And in the end, Cardinal Texan to come from Cape Coast to meet the two candidates at the cathedral. And I'm aware of, because even though outside the country, I was party to urging him to come to Accra. So 2008, another near miss. Fortunately, the two presidents, who after all were classmates at Achimota, they knew each other, and then they were talked into any kind of leading any kind of action that might destroy the country. So 2008, we say things are peace, but there was something behind. So 2011, I think, was caught. So not a near miss, but at least they trusted that the court decision will be binding. So let's take it. And then 2016, President Mahama, ex-president, he conceded, so that is fine. 2020, court. Not just the court, but even there was a talking to behind the scenes. There was talking. But now 2024, this is an election that I describe as is going to be a head-on collision, because the two positions are irreconcilable. There was no way, as we stand now, that any of the parties want to lose. There is no way. There is no way. So that is not good. But we will be able to take countermeasures. So it mustn't be just an ordinary forum. It must be a serious forum. Forum like this mustn't be just going out at 10 o'clock for snack. So it must be a serious forum. And you see, the message must be clear so that the public response to peace will be clear. And that means if you are in the view, make sure that we go through the process. Because if the electoral process is enforced with the participation of the public, there will be no problem. Because the pre-election activities, you've had all the the compilation of the register, you've had the time to make your challenges right up to district level. And you see, at the polling station, that is where the challenge will be. But fortunately for us, in fairness to the two main political parties, there is something that will tell the public. All the two sides have got equipment that will let them know the results within 45 minutes. After yes. The two parties, I'm telling you, that they have the means within 45 minutes. But if I have lost, am I going to say it? Within 45 minutes, they will know the results. Why? Because they have equipment that will let them know the results from all polling stations. But they have to wait for the official communication of results. So for me, that is the main challenge. But you see, we must come a stage. I think South Africa has done it. When from the polling station, the results will be communicated right to the headquarters, so that there's no problem. Because if there are 2 polling stations, it is 10 here, 10 here, 10 plus 10, 20. Why are we going to where? The district collation, the constituency collation center. And then we have to go to the regional collation center for some results, presidential results, to go straight to the headquarters. But the parties must agree there can be a common equipment where you agree that polling stations, it doesn't matter, you go through the process, but you must agree that the results must be clear, communicated at the polling station. It's too late, but we hope that this will not be a problem. Please let me go to other issues. The question, let not the political parties refer to military intervention. That is not good. Never say, if it doesn't go my way, there will be a coup. That is very sad. Because if I wanted to start with you and explain what has happened to this country in the course of coups in this country, and I have been an eyewitness of coups, especially in the 79, I was the security officer in charge of Accra, so I know what happened. And nobody in his right senses will make reference to a coup. I don't think the soldiers even want a coup. And in any case, we have a different military. They are well qualified, and they are seeking role in the economic development agenda of this country. They have been to Keystone, they are doing postgraduate courses, they are enlightened, like other countries, to participate in our nation building. Their focus is different. And what I will not go into details. The equation operationally has changed. That I would be surprised if anybody attempted a coup. It will not work. Without going into details, from what I know, there will be no walkover. You are encouraging a civil war. So please, let not any political class refer to reversal. We come very far, 31 years of stability. So let us not go there. It is quite irresponsible. So rather, let us all be determined. And here, I don't have to tell you how we can do it, but I know it can be done. I don't want to use my skills to foment any strategies to prevent, but I think the public participation, the public mind communicated to the highest level will stop any kind of situation that will lead us into a period of instability. It takes a very long time to return to civilian rule. Very long time. And from my experience, all civilians who have instigated coups in this country, they end up paying the price. I've had groups who have financed coups, and they become the first casualties. They don't hand over to you. So let's not make that a conversation agenda, because it's irresponsible. So distinguished gathering, by all means, let there be a determination. On my own assessment, yes, they are ready for this coalition cause, but it will be prevented. It's not going to happen, because we are responsible enough, and a group like this must be able to have a way of communicating that the whole country is determined, that there will be no disturbance, that there will be fair election. Fortunately, the president has said it, all the political leaders have said it, but you see, don't instigate a situation which you cannot control. There was one situation where we got the leadership, and we explained that what they were saying wasn't true. They said, well, we have understood, but you see, if we go and tell our people, they will say we have been sold out. So, look, so we are not going to, we have understood, we are misled. But then if you tell the crowd, we'll be lynched. So please, let the public reaction be very clear. That is the only way to avert this situation. Let all the political parties realize that if we perceive publicly that they have played the role that is leading us into the ditch, we are going to stand up. And don't wait for the 7th. If we see that this is what they are doing, they are leading us into chaos, rather than to be like Sudan, carrying our mattresses on our heads, we are not going to wait. Don't wait till the 7th of December. Publicly, we must have a meeting that, given the way things are going, we are going to stand up. No election. But let it be clear, we don't want resolutions. It's a scrap of paper. A resolution is a scrap of paper, as Hitler said. So please, what are the practical actions that we can take to ensure that Ghana's 31 years of stability will continue? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was obviously well articulated. 31 years of protecting Ghana's democracy is something that we all need to uphold, and work collectively for that. Honorable Francis Poku, I'm sure there will be lots of questions for you to answer. Even though you said you didn't want to give off the strategy, I think that you've already given it off. So those who are taking notes know that we need clear communication and citizens' action. Citizens' action, which is why this SPI forum is very, very important, because this is where all the JoJo is happening, and empowering people to know exactly what they need to do to protect this peace that we have. Thank you very much. A round of applause again for Honorable Francis Poku. Just as you were speaking, Honorable, 2 persons walked in to join us. I think that you also used the word counter-action. And speaking of counter-action, we have General Timothy Batabana. He's Director of Counter Ministry of National Security. To my right, you're welcome. So we'll be hearing from you in a moment on counter-terrorism, how we can counter that, since we have the Sahel Peace Initiative is what we're talking about, and how we can ensure peaceful cohesion in the run-up to Ghana's December 7 elections. We were also joined by Sheikh Arimiya Shaibu. He is spokesperson for the National Peace Council. National Chief Imam. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. We'll have you speak in a moment. But we'll be playing the gender card here. We'll have a female speak to us next. So we'll have Joyce Nyami, Programs Manager, Youth Bridge Foundation. Joyce Nyami, your turn to speak to us. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and all protocols duly observed. I work with the Youth Bridge Foundation, and then with the various conversations that are going on, I would like to give a glimpse of what we do at Youth Bridge. What we do is to create a bridge for young people and then policymakers. So when the last speaker was speaking, he had mentioned that there is a need for certain information to go out there. How do we make sure that young people really get the information? How do we make sure that they really understand the codes? Because when it comes to high-level meetings like this, we speak in codes. We speak in a certain high-level language. So how do we make sure that young people within the communities are able to understand what we talk about? So we do a lot of youth segmentation. If you say youth segmentation, we are talking about the young people within different specific locations, young people within certain specific frameworks. So we are looking at young people within their communities, young people in rural areas. How do you speak to them in a language that they understand? So that's what we do. I just want to share some insights on what we've been doing in relation to the context we are discussing. For us, there is a need for the youth factor to be made prominent. We are talking about all these issues, and there is a need for us to understand that there is a youth factor. Let's look at the current parliament. We have only 1 young person. At the onset, we had 14 or 12, and then we have 4 females out of these 12. And currently, there's only 1 young people. And if I say a young person, I'm talking about within the parliamentary elections, someone who is between 21 and 35. And then if I say a young person, I'm talking in terms of elections, I'm referring to someone who attained 18. So 18 to 35. So if we are saying that within the current statistics that we have, young people make up more than 70% of the population, and we go to the parliament, and out of the 275, only 12, that is from the onset, and currently we have just 1 person representing the young folk. How do we ensure that there is inclusivity? We are talking about marginalization. So from the welcome address, one of the things I picked was the fact that if you keep excluding people, there is a discontent. And how are we going to explore avenues to make sure that these discontent are even brought out in a better way? I'm not saying there's a need for that anyway, but even if there's that discontent, how do we make sure that there are avenues for addressing them? So that's one of the critical issues when it comes to peaceful elections. How do we make sure that there is equal representation within the frameworks that we work with at this parliament? Let's go back to the just ended district level elections. Out of the total, only 29% are young people. And for us, we think the district assembly elections is an entry point for youth participation, because we are talking about representation, and then we all know the cost of politics. Young people, being a young person, we think it's a transitional period. So we haven't been able to gather the assets that we need to have in terms of bargaining with the national policy frameworks, the spaces like parliament that we want to be. So we were thinking that the district level elections is one of the things we could have as an entry point for youth representation and participation. But because of certain things or whatever thing that is happening, we are unable to still have young people within this framework. So the last district assembly election, there are only 29% of young people within the total officials that are elected. So if you are talking about peaceful election, we are talking about inclusion. There is a need for us to always know that the youth factor is prominent. And then looking at the youth factor, it's important we understand the dynamics when it comes to young people. We don't just have to capture them as a homogeneous group. So we are saying young people, so it's young people. I mean, a 15-year-old has certain aspirations and needs that will be different from a 21-year-old. A 21-year-old who has been to school before has his aspirations shaped in a different way. A female youth, a male youth, a youth with disability, etc. So there is a need for us to look at the different segmentations when it comes to the young people. And this is also something we need to look at as a nation. For instance, is there a national development agenda where we have the majority of the people as the baseline or as the focus? If there is, then definitely we wouldn't be having this conversation about marginalization of especially young people. And then if you want to go into details, you realize that even there are some young people who are better off than the others. We are talking about young people with disability. How do you ensure that information is made accessible to young people within certain frameworks? We are saying that we are the Gen Zs, but there are people within certain communities that do not even have access to smartphones. Even if they have access to smartphones, because of internet, and even the kind of information we are using the smartphones to access, they are not the information that we sit in certain high-level like this and discuss. So we, Youth Build Foundation, we come in as a bridge and make sure that all these codes we are talking about here for policy implementation, young people really understand. And then as they are understanding, they are informed. And if they are informed, they make better contributions and they participate effectively. So I will leave it here, and then when it comes to the strategies, we will highlight more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Obviously, a round of applause for her again. Joyce Nyame, the youth factor. Huge. I'll leave that one for later discussion. Thank you so much for opening our eyes to realize that we need to communicate better and not just think that what we said, everybody understands, especially our younger ones who are the future that we need to hold dear to our hearts. Thank you very much for that. We will take submission from WANEP, West Africa Network for Peace Building. Dr. Festus Obing, your initial comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start by first of all standing on existing protocol and also to thank the organizers for inviting WANEP to be part of this very important national forum. So I think, first of all, the theme for this panel discussion aligns very well with the philosophy of WANEP, which is collaborative approach to peace building. And that has also informed the kind of interventions we've put in place and the kind of responses we also provide when it comes to issues around elections. And so I will highlight some of the things we are doing in partnership with other CSOs, in partnership with the National Peace Council, and also other national institutions to promote inclusive and peaceful elections in Ghana. And most of the things we are doing also generally mirrors a lot of the things that a lot of CSOs are doing across the country. So as part of the strategies, the collaborative strategies to ensure peaceful elections in Ghana, we have this program that we call Election Violence Monitoring, Analysis, and Mitigation Project. And this project is basically to respond to early warning signs as we head towards the elections. And it covers the various phases of the electoral process, the pre-election, during, and then also after. And as part of this program, we have what we call the National Election Response Group, which Reverend Edu Jemfi mentioned. And this is a very important group and a very collaborative platform that brings together both states and non-state actors, with the National Peace Council as the chair of that election response group. We have the Electoral Commission, we have the National Election Security Task Force, we have the National Center for the Coordination of Early Warning, we have various CSOs, youth group, and more importantly, we also have our development partners, UNDP, you know us, and we also have ECOWAS, also as part of this group as observers. Because for us, we believe that when whatever approach we implement to address some of the threat to the election must involve all the key stakeholders. And we also have the political parties also represented as well. And one of the key functions of this group is that they respond and also discuss some of the key issues pertaining to the peaceful conduct of the election and make recommendations to the appropriate authorities to address the issues. And one of the unique aspects of this group also is that because we have all the key stakeholders as part of the group, it makes it easier for the rapid responses to some of the threats that we have identified. And they'll be meeting periodically. The EC comes to brief the whatever issues that are coming up. We have the opportunity to deal with them rapidly to respond to any threat to the election. We have also, as part of the program, mapped out all the constituencies across the country and classified them under high-risk areas, medium-risk areas, and low-risk areas, and identified all the conflict hotspots. Especially, and what is most interesting is that when you look at the hotspot mapping that we did, a lot of the places that are high-risk are places that already have existing problems, like chieftaincy conflicts, unresolved conflicts, and places that are also vulnerable to the issue of violent extremism and terrorism. Because as you are aware, this year's election is happening against the context of what is happening also in the Sahel and within our neighboring countries. And so, whilst we are dealing with our internal challenges, we are also looking at what is happening around us because it has impact on the electoral process. So we are doing constant monitoring of those hotspot areas and provide reports through our early warning system for the NEC to discuss some of the issues and also provide rapid responses to them. As part of this, we also have a component on election observation and election monitoring, where we are constantly monitoring the environment, and also during, a day before the election, and during, we are also deploying several observers across the country to monitor the conduct of the election and provide feedback, which will also help in responding to some of the threats. And with that, we also have a situation room, which we are also establishing together with the Peace Council, that will also receive feedback from all the observers on the ground during the election day and after, to also respond to some of the issues that are coming up during the conduct and even after the electoral process. There's also a component on fact-checking, where we are monitoring the media landscape to identify issues of hate speech, issues of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and also promoting digital literacy, letting people know that it's not everything that you forward, because there are some of the things, if you forward, it's going to create a lot of tensions. So promoting that as well as part of the program. And also, we also have a component that also deals with voter education, which is quite critical for us. And during the previous election, we had a lot of dividends from that exercise, because people are likely that it is not getting a bag of rice or 20 cities or 10 cities that will promote the development of the country, but also for them to know some of the issues. Because as we are sitting discussing some of the issues, when you go to the rural areas, some of them know what the issues are, for them to even make informed decisions as to who to vote for. And that is why for us, voter education is quite critical for this electoral process, also to promote inclusive participation, especially the marginalized groups like youth and also women and people with disability. And we know that some of the provisions are not with some of the voter education aside, because it's making it difficult for them to reach marginalized people. I remember somewhere around 2004, we went to different place to do some research, and in one of the very remote villages, they have no network, and people hardly get access to TV and all that. And we were surprised when someone shared a story with us that in one of the elections, people came to the village to tell them that on December 7th, it's people who belong to one political party that are voting. And then December 8th, the other party people also come and vote. And so December 7th, if it's the NDC, they went to vote. December 8th, they went and they said it's over. When you are in the crowd, you think that some of these stories are fishy. But when you go to the hinterlands, you realize that there's a lot of education, a lot of awareness that is needed. So voter is one of the critical areas that we also, as issues of also letting people appreciate the political party manifestos. And also, we as CS also influencing what is captured in the manifesto to ensure that whatever is captured is also realistic, implementable, and achievable. But also educating the public to be able to ask the critical questions when it comes to some of those manifestos. And there are also issues around organizing debates at the conference level among parliamentary candidates. They also see that are working towards holding of a presidential debate, either involving the other political parties of the two major political parties. People have questioned the relevance of those debates. But for us, it also helps for the citizens to know what the various political parties seek to do when they get power to influence sometimes a voting pattern who they also vote for. I mean, when you check what is also happening outside of our jurisdiction, which is the US election, for example, it was a presidential debate that led to the dropping of one of the presidential candidates. So it has its own direct and indirect consequences. And so for us, these are some of the collaborative strategies that we are using to make sure that all key actors, both state and non-state actors, work together to ensure that the election is not only peaceful, but inclusive, credible, and accepted by all the political parties. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for that. Wonderful for your action towards having a collaborative approach to peaceful elections. Thank you. Another round of applause for him. Next, we'll be listening to General Timothy Batanaba, Director, Counterterrorism, Ministry of National Security. Your initial comments. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't really have anything to say. I believe yesterday we spent the whole day talking about the fact that our South region is less safe than it used to be. Just to reiterate that it's not a declaration. You can see it's still in South region. It's not improving as we would have wished. But talking about elections today, I think it's just enough for me to make a certain tutorial presentation. The countries that are most hit by terrorist activities in the South region have been countries that are not practicing our sort of democracy at the moment. It's no exaggeration to say that Burkina, and we have some of the critics from Burkina here with us, is almost entirely gone in the hands of terrorist and violent extremists. They will be the first to admit that when they had a democratic government in place, their country was safer than when they had those successful competitors. Even in Mali, remember the issues of terror didn't start today. Before that successful coup, they still lost less lives than when the military took over the reins of power. The same is the case in Niger. Since the overthrow of Bazoum, the state fortunes of Niger have not seen a significant improvement. And there's a reason why. It's very simple. You did hear Honorable Francis Bogu speak, and he tried reminding us what the Minister of National Security said yesterday. A good number of us, especially those in my age bracket, don't know what it means to sleep under a curfew. A good number of us don't know. Now, happy we have a youth rep here. A good number of us don't know what it means to avoid their own houses and look for base in someone's garage. A good number of us in my age bracket do not know how it is to abandon your country and for another country. For this, the purpose of seeing the light that was given by God. So we can always wish for values, we can always wish for that which is in creation. So there's a call to all of us, including not just the youth who form a 61% of our society, to go on the other side of what we request for when we say we want something other than the democratic institutions. What happens when a military government comes in place is that it thinks about its own city, that the population then becomes not just secondary, but post-secondary. So we had a democratic government in Burkina, for instance. The president was quite content and invested all his lot in the protection of his country. So there was no divided attention in the front of the defense and security forces. Then you had some good morning, Lieutenant General organizes and the President successful, claiming that the sitting president was able to protect citizens against terrorists. What happens? You invest first in your own city so that your city is secure. So the fact that you organize a military successful doesn't mean that exponentially the resources you have for security and defense will increase overnight. You could have taken the city overnight. The resources of the country will not increase overnight. But now those resources that you invest in 100% for the protection of your citizens, you must now prioritize your own city and security of the city over that of the citizens. So if you have 5 armored vehicles, 3 of them are withdrawn from the frontier, and 2 that's the way for protecting the rest of the citizens. That's how it is. If you had 7 resources, 7 individuals using what gathering intelligence to survive 5 terrorists, now you have to prioritize intelligence that will ensure that you are not overthrown by the next coupist who is just behind you. So that tells you why our dear 3 countries in this region happen to be suffering more degradation when it comes to their security landscape. Why they happen to be, bearing the title of becoming the epicenter of terrorist activities. And we have statistics prove that this is no pretty much up. So first, we certainly not too comfortable because we are only comfortable when our neighbors are comfortable. You have walls around this place. I believe that you are all feeling safe. You are sure this wall will collapse on your head. That's why I sit comfortably. And I believe I'm so sure this wall will collapse on my head. That's why I'm comfortable. If you can't hear the integrity of the walls around this room, I'm not good enough. You won't be comfortable sitting here. And that's where we're finding ourselves, unfortunately. Because we have almost lost our dirt. That's Burkina. Burkina shares 602 kilometers frontier with us. As I mentioned before, now they're criticizing the city of the Battle. With the same resources, they have worked hard. Today, another war of ours, that's 2, is going to suffer. So you cannot have remain in a place with weaker walls, as I mentioned, and that you're too comfortable. I mean, I didn't scare you yesterday, and I do not want to scare you either. And I believe 5 kilometers I want to scare you either. But we must be honest with you and tell you the truth that our city is not what it used to be 6 months ago. Neither is it what it used to be 8 months ago. One of our elections, very important, is our choosing value for governance. What we must know is that the terrorists we have around are not from, they are not too eager about so many things. They are against our value systems. Your chosen value when it comes to governance is what we do every 4 years. It certainly isn't giving you exactly what you aspire to get, and then in the quantities you target it. But it might get far, far better. That often for the change that the terrorists want us to target ourselves. What are our values? Our values, as we mentioned, they relate around what? The family. They relate around our communities. They relate around our society. We would tend to see our value system in our religious systems, where we decide to settle our differences, as Honorable Francis Oku is when it comes to the issues of elections. What we want to learn about education system. What we want to practice. In Ghana, we like going to funerals and what else? We go to the funeral because somehow, as we mentioned, the schools eliminated the theater and whatnot. So what has replaced theater and what has been the funerals? I know some of when I used to be a Christian, we had our bishops saying that we should let them inform materials. Because we don't have us, don't have the what we manipulate.
most far away from us, it's supposed to be expected. We're also on what we call voter education. In voter education, the point I made here, we're not talking about how voting. The how voting, I mean, by SCE, or the CE, or the SCE, and the word as the why voting. And time between the how voting and the why of voting. A young man who didn't give money for him to vote, how does he understand what voting means? He will say, voting is made by which we to separate policy, meaning the individual. How does he appreciate what means sovereignty? It means that he will accept in mind in order to vote towards a particular direction. He doesn't understand that. It's trust that he gives. First of all, we are now confronted with the monetization of our election. He will point that minors are encouraged to register and vote. It's the conscience of the between 40 years political elite who encourages a minor less than 18 years to vote. How honest is that logic? Who knows the young man is less than 18 years and encourages him to go and vote? What does it do with the largest extent of our integrity corruption process? The young man doesn't understand this, what he his life. And the elderly man encourages him to start his life by lying out his age. And what he's doing, appreciate the implications. Somebody told me that if you get because you register somehow, and then now you're confronted with the issue. So that is why the CSO level, just not the elections, but getting people to understand, to have a certain basic understanding of what it means for one to vote. Then we have done that. And one of the other things that we do in particular sense is do what we call the pre-election political or environment assessment of the environment. And we call reporting about what is happening after the election. So for example, one of the things that we have seen very recently is the defacement of the process, which is representation. Or I'm mounting a larger what we call a billboard in order to cover an existing one. And these are things that create tension and which we want to deal with. So we have been organizing this and sometimes organizing fora for vulnerable groups like the women, the youth, people living with disability, especially because I want to encourage them to participate in this level of elections. We know that there was not so much interest over there. So I'm going to encourage such people to begin to do that. So these are in addition to the actual election observation that we do. And apart from the 1992 elections, Korea has observed this election from that time onto the calendar that we are going to do. So for 24 years, Korea has been engaging in this kind of activity. So let me
thank you very much. For 24 years, that's a lot of information to share. Thank you very much, Sheikh Arimi Al-Shaibu, for that. The strategy, one of them that you said was that early warnings. You're picking up early warning signals. It's a strategy. You're looking at the pre-electoral environment and picking up strategies, the facing of posters and things like that. Share with us. We're going to follow up now. Share with us one or two. I mean, you said some, but clear strategies for those taking the notes. Clear strategies to ensure that there is a collaborative approach or other approaches to ensure that we have a peaceful election in December.
From a personal view, I think we need to find a way by getting in direct engagement with political actors, where we bring these issues face to face with them, drawing their attention to what it means that they do this and the counter responses that comes out of that, and how it endangers the peaceful environment in which we are going to do our election. And I think also encourage them to engage in dialogue, to see that even wherever there such issues happen, is it possible that within the parties themselves there's a certain kind of platform where attempts are made to address some of these things. So it's a matter of getting into their minds, just like I like quoting the preamble to the UNESCO Constitution, which is that since war begins in the mind of men, it is the mind of men that defends the war.
Reverend Edudegui, quickly give us one or two strategies and approaches that we as a whole need to use to ensure that collectively we achieve that peaceful coexistence that we need. From your perspective, National Peace Council.
I want to pick up from where Sheikh left off.
Okay, I think the mics are working. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
From where Sheikh left off and what the Honorable also spoke about, we have come to a point where our political leaders have incited their grassroots to a point where they can't go back and tell them the truth. Are you getting it? They have incited the grassroots to a point where they can't go back and tell them the truth. In our forum last week, Thursday in Tamale, it showed. Yesterday in Kumasi, it showed. What we need to do now is how do we communicate with the grassroots to understand some of the things we're talking about here. And on this, I want to appeal to our media. Instead of hyping all the funny things that these people are saying, how do we educate the public to understand all these things that we are discussing in this room and help them to change their own thinking? After our forum yesterday, I met the party representatives who were there. Most of the young guys were confused. And I asked them why. He said the things they have told us and what we are hearing here are two different things. Two different things. And you have situations where, like Honorable said, the actors themselves get to a point where they say that where we are now, we can't go back and tell them something different because we are afraid of our own lives. And the same people will come out and stand and say, what is Peace Council saying? What should I come and say after all the things I've enumerated earlier? We've had this training, we have this dialogue, we have quarterly meetings, we have all this, we have all that. Different groups of people are coming. Go back and report they can't because they have incited them to a certain point. Now they don't know what to do. So we want you to help us, CSOs and other reps who are here, especially our young ones with the youth brigade. Let's find the means to get to the young people and educate them. I asked somebody yesterday that, like what Sheikh said, before voting, ballot box is lifted. It's empty. Everybody sees it. We put it down. They put a seal on it. Number two, you go to biometric machine. You press it. It shows 000, which means that there is nothing in the machine. We start doing voting. We have the voter list. Somebody even suggested that when they take the ballot paper, they should show it and flip it so that everybody knows that there's only one and not two. Then the party members, what we call the agents, talk among yourselves that these are the rules for our station. Assuming we find the foreign material in this, what are we going to do? EC told us yesterday that even the indelible ink that they are using and the thumbprint, what we call pad, now what they are doing that the pads differ from one station to another. The last election, we saw some people screaming that they went to some police stations, another station. It's intentional, so that you can't move something from one place to another. And yet we are fighting. You have to say, what are we fighting about? At the end of polling, biometric machine gives you a figure. How many people are here? 400. What figure is it showing? Those who were verified manually, how many of them? Add them together before they open the box and count whatever is in the box. You count it. Does it tell you the numbers? Are they in this bubble? Whatever it is, you have your figure. Finished. This simple thing. Why would you tell somebody to take a class to a police station? And people leave these things. So we explain to them that this is the procedure. Easy way there. They explain the whole thing. I've time to ask all the questions. Well, if this is the procedure, why do we take a class to a police station? So there's a need for us to do a lot of voter education. And for those of us who have the privilege and the platform to teach, and also especially for our media, let us do proper education and minimize the tension. Because for some of the things, to me, they are unnecessary. In our election now, if you tell me that you steal, election results are declared at the polling station. You have your systems. Like Honorable said, within 45 minutes after counting, if you have good systems, everybody must know what results you got. You tally your results. All the results in the polling stations go to a constituency. The constituency tally the results and declare the results in the constituency. Meanwhile, party followers have been told that the Jameson in Accra is manipulating what is declared in the constituency when the results are not even in Accra. And they believe it. Are you with me? So this is falsehood that has been propagated consistently, and people are believing them, they are hyped and all kinds of things. The old system where we had ballot papers that were opaque and all, we've gone past those things. So we have transitioned to a different place, and I think the public must be properly educated so that we don't continue to hype all these things and create unnecessary tension and fight among ourselves for nothing. So the first step is voter education, and I think we need our media to help us. If you need a resource person, let's bring the resource person. Don't go and bring the politicians who come and sit on radio and TV and fight. And when they finish fighting, they will ask them, today you failed. You are paying for breakfast. And they hold us themselves and go and sit and eat. We have seen them, and you know them. You are in the studio, you see them. All these things are happening. They are friends. It's all our meeting. We went to one of our meetings when we had the Council of Elders. They were sitting there. One of them said, look at how nicely we are sitting here talking. And somebody said, when you bring a camera down and see what will happen. And they said, oh, what will happen? So we are not friends. We are not friends. When my son had a birthday, were you all not there? Everybody kept quiet. All the parties went to somebody's son's birthday, and yet they'll come and sit on TV and do a certain demonstration, and we are fighting. It's time for us to expose these people and let us have peace in the country. And it takes all of us to be involved. And sometimes when they're screaming, where is this answer? We can't talk because we know what they are doing. And the public must know. So that we save ourselves all this headache of screaming here and there and fighting and all of this unnecessary tension that we are going through. Thank you. That's what I'll say for now.
Thank you for that. Well, thank you very much, Reverend Epidemic. We'll be going to the, or if you have a question, kindly raise up your hands. I think I've seen one person there. From IDEC, we'll give that first mic. Dr. Father Clement. IDEC.
So
thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. My name is Kwesi Jonah, and I am a very, very humble worker at the Institute for Democratic Governance. My question, I have listened very attentively to all the contributions from the panelists. One problem that has not yet come up is also one that is a looming threat to the 2024 elections, namely the resurgence of the vigilante groups. The vast majority of us here in this room probably know that 2019, the Parliament of Ghana passed a law banning all vigilante groups. The National Peace Council did not rest. It also went ahead to bring the two major political parties, the NPP and the NDC, together to sign a code of conduct for the eradication of vigilante groups. As we sit here in this hall today, vigilante groups are not dead, they are very much alive. They have resurfaced some of the different names. Some say they won't even change their names because they are doing a perfectly legitimate job for their political parties. And yet, throughout this discussion, I haven't heard one word about the resurgence of these very dangerous groups, which pose clear and present danger to the 2024 elections. Can any member of the panel, I wanted to put Reverend Amidafi on card, but can any member of this panel, educate us? What is the situation with the political groups as of now?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonah.
We are relying on you to read them, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Alhaji Awal Ahmed Karyama. I work at a civil society organization called Rise Ghana. We're based in the Upper East region. Some years ago, I read a poem that changed my life, and I believe that it will change the life of many people, especially the vigilantes. The title of the poem is First They Came. It's by a German Lutheran minister. So first they came for the Jews, I didn't speak up because I was not a Jew. They came for the Protestants, I didn't speak because I was not one. When they came for me, there was no one to speak for me. So that's the situation that we are having. We need to be able to speak up and name and shame the political parties for some of their actions and inactions. For instance, I'm expecting that at the end of the day, we'll be able to get some concrete feedback from the two major political parties for the reason for which they are not here. We need to really hear from them why they are not here. And I'm happy that the National Media Commission is in this house and the GJA is here. Is it not possible? The politicians only talk about sanitizing the airwaves. The Media Commission talks about that. It's not possible that we are learning from yesterday, from Father Clement and other speakers, that it's an all-of-society approach. Can't we, for the purpose of this 1,000 plus days to an election, engage the media owners, private and public, to make it a strict requirement that whenever we're doing our morning discussions, there should be a seat for civil society, a seat for some independent, mandated state agency with respect to that. I mean, it shouldn't be only the politicians who will be able to find their ways to get to every radio station to talk. It should be possible for civil society, and we are cross-country to do that. So can we, I'm asking the National Media Commission, can we make a commitment to ensure that we are dialoguing with these institutions to enforce this? And then also, the fact-checking issues. As we speak, certain parts of the Upper East region, Boko in particular, MPP political party paraphernalia are not allowed in certain areas. Has it come to the attention of the national security? Because it fits into the point that I mentioned about. And we know political parties and some of their leaders have mentioned statements that, like, elections are won at the polling stations. What concrete steps is the national security taking to be able to counter some of these narratives? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alhaji. And, yes, let's have you.
Thank you, Madam MC. My name is Felix Mati, Progressive People's Party. And, Reverend, you have given us the issues regarding voting and the reaction of political parties. Sometimes when you hear the issues, it makes you feel like political parties are the troublemakers. But all of us here, when we belong to political parties, it's just that we've not come openly to show our identity, what we belong to. So the question comes to us, when real issues on the field are brought to us, what will be your reaction? When you feel there's no transparency, your vote is going somewhere, what will be your reaction? When you feel you are being intimidated, what will be your reaction? Because all of us belong to parties. Now, there have been several reforms, Reverend, in our voting since the period. Yes, so there are mistrust and then suspicion within the system in declaration of results and the voting processes. It's the time for us to begin with the advent of technology to think around election and voting. So some of these things will go down. And Major, General, forgive me, our neighboring countries are in trouble. And like sometimes the saying goes, when you see your neighbor's house in fire or your neighbor's behind fire, you put your own in waters. But I want to find out, with the several risk factors within our jurisdiction, to avoid those threats in the other countries from feeding on the risk factors here to turn our area into destruction. I just want to know, is there any assistance at the national level that we are giving to these neighboring countries so that they can contain the situation, or is it a matter of due fiasa?
Okay, so we'll take two more, and then we'll get a response, and then we'll continue. So let's hear, lady. Yes, go ahead. Tell us your name. Tell us your name and where you're representing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to say the discussion was...
Your name and where you are representing.
Okay, Hazia Mahmoud and part of the Full Youth Association Ghana. I want to say the discussion was very insightful from the beginning, and we haven't ended yet, so yeah, I need to still continue to be insightful. And so my question goes to the panelists. I want to know what they have been doing or what they have done towards marginalized ethnic groups, towards denying them election, them partaking in the election process. For example, the Full
Thank you very much, Hazia, for that. One more, and then we'll take the responses. One female, please. One female.
Hello. My name is Margaret Lewis Turbo. I'm a
The final thoughts from the panel. We'll start from Sheikh. Sheikh, your final thoughts. As you wrap up, help us understand how to collaborate, and from Kodeo, how you can collaborate to ensure that these elections
peaceful coexistence as a wrap.
I think
Very, very succinctly, please, sir.
no one organization can do this work and be successful. So it's a whole kind of responsibility. I think what we need to do is just open there. All they are doing it. For example, the Peace Council and the one having some collaboration. Kobe is having collaboration with IDEC and CFI and CCE. All they are doing. I think we need to really strengthen those collaborations and also think about specialized areas. For example, if one organization is very good at dealing with mis and disinformation, for example, in the technology, more exposed, then we all team up and give a lead role to that organization. So we can be dealing with that. Quickly on this Fulbe issue, the answer given can be very dangerous. It can be very dangerous. And I think we need to handle this very, very carefully. We need to handle it very, very carefully. So I think that the answer, in my view, would be one, to take advantage of the guarantor system. Once we already have a guarantor system. So if somebody comes in an area and happens to be a Fulbe, or the look in it, so there are people who have just the looks that person is an alien. But that if there's a guarantor system that indicates that that person is, I know many of the Fulbe who have intermarried with Ewe people, with Ashantis, far away at Agogo, Ada, and those ones, when you see their look, you think they are aliens. They are full Ghanaians. They are full Ghanaians. So we need to be careful how we classify them as aliens. Indeed, my background, I trace my origin to northern part of Nigeria. I speak Hausa. But my mother is a Grushi. My father was born here before independence. So today, who comes to tell them I'm not a Ghanaian? Who comes? Who dares do that? So probably easy. Let's look at how we want to handle. And please, if you have an issue, you need to really get your organization so it can be raised. That if there's any attempt to disenfranchise you, so that you know exactly where to go with the matter. Vigilante is coming in a new gap, and it's very imperceptible. Both major political parties are all preparing. They call it their own private security or internal security. That's how they put it. And they will show up during this election. They are ready because what has happened before, and they have so been prepared. It's one of the reasons why our election 2024 is a dangerous one, and we must really do. I'm sure my chairman will say something about it because recently we the committee to deal with this code of conduct and the vigilante. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Honorable Boku.
Thank you very much. Our presence here today is to be as effective as possible. And the point I'm making is that let's act down. The question was asked, if a loser fails to concede. The National Security Minister was here yesterday, and I have no doubt that he's aware of the immensity of the problem, and the security agencies definitely would be preparing for that. So I don't want to go too much into detail. But we are stakeholders in the peace process. And the point is that as and when we meet in these forums, we should be seen to be effective and giving the appropriate warnings. Whenever I have met the political groups, and I have done so on a couple of occasions, I have questioned political party funding. The funding. When parties are able, they don't give any funds to prepare for their staff, and then they give them handouts. So those individuals, when elections come, they are very nervous. For them, it's existential. If we lose the election, that's the end of our lives. So I have advised the political parties, please have funding. Don't take the money at the very top, and when you lose the election, you disappear. These are those who have become militia. And when I took over 2001, there were many who were sleeping on the beaches. So I had to organize a meeting with them. I was surprised that they had been trained in weapons, and for a period of time, we had to sort them out without going into details. So it is a very dangerous situation, and these are the people who make trouble. With the Fulani issue, it is a very serious matter. They have rights. That means we have to go through the immigration process. So the best thing is for them to get advisors. The immigration advisors go through the process. You must have a qualification to remain in the country. So that will be sorted out. The reason is that many of those who have been associated with these problems, terrorist problems, and so the representative of national security is here, these matters are misunderstood, and they can cause a lot of security problems. But they have rights. But they need advisors. They are our brothers and sisters. So let's see how we can respond effectively. They have rights. Some stay here for many. And then also, what we don't realize is that the cattle sometimes belong to Ghanaians. So they are not aliens. And in fact, during our time, we formed a committee, and the report is with the Ministry of Agriculture, to organize crowds, grazing grounds in every constituency. To have enclosures, to give them grazing. So when you enter in region, you are directed. They've got veterinary officers. The government is there. And in fact, there was $500 million funding. The enclosures were built, but nothing was done. So there had been a process to solve this problem. Electoral Commission, please, there will be challenges, and I've seen it before. Technical breakdowns, computer breakdown. So there must be a way to monitor what is going on. It's not enough to say we're Electoral Commission, so we don't worry about what is happening in the various regions. That's a failure. You must be monitoring what is going on. Link up with the various states, including the security agencies. We had a case where there was the equipment got to, there were no ballot papers. Happily, we were sent throughout the night. So we organized for the office to take the ballots to the voting region. So there will be real challenges. You have delays. Happily, I understand that there will be arrangements to make sure that you don't have too many registered voters per police station. But there will be challenges. And you must have information and communicate. See, do not pretend that it is the fault of the region. No, at the top, you must monitor whatever is going on and coordinate. So the challenges are there. The reason why we are here was clearly stated by the Honorable Minister for National Security. The challenges are real. That is why we are concerned. And I'm sure if we had gone into detail what could happen, we would have understood the concern that we are expressing here. Because if it gets out of control, it will be too late. That one, we will have no advice. Previously, we had the occasion to organize the backroom discussions. It may not happen anymore because the tensions are too high, and the minister did not hide the situation from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Reverend.
Right, thank you very much. I want to pick up from the one who spoke about first-time voters and tell you a story that came up at one of our forum. A young lady, 14-year-old, was raped. The case went to court, and the gentleman was being accused that he had raped a minor. In the course of the process, the lawyer raised an issue with this lady. Did you vote in the last election? She said yes. Then he said, you are 18 years and above. The case was closed. The gentleman was free. Political actors who have lobbied minors will go and register. This is the problem we are creating for some children. Sheikh said it in person. I said it yesterday in Kumasi. Some of you, these boys will be 14 years old. You are saying they are 18. Now, voter card, Ghana card, passport are all linked, including your social security. You'll be working in future. At the age of 56, social security happens says you go on retire. And you say, I'm not 60. But you voted at a certain time, and the record is there. We are jeopardizing the future of the children of this country. Politicians must understand what we are doing. It has implications. You may go scot-free now, but that is not the future. That is what I want to say. Secondly, somebody spoke about outright condemnation, whether we are not condemning. Council has explained this over and over again, that we are what we call third-party neutral. We do mediation, we do dialogue, and sometimes we need to take a position that makes our role acceptable. If something comes up and I condemn you, and I call you to another meeting, you won't show up because I already condemned you. So we don't use that approach now. In the past few years, we have avoided it. What we do is to call those parties to a close meeting, because the act says that we must do sustainable peace. Condemnation is one of sustainable peace is to reason with the person to the point where you realize that what you've done. That is the approach we've been using. And we want the public to understand that the fact that people have said something doesn't mean that let loose. Some of them will come to our office and say, Chairman, this is political talk. Please don't take it. Okay, go and say no more. The pastors understand that. Some of them will come and say, look, our party food soldiers have become too dull, so we have to find a way to psych them up. So we have to say something. But what does that mean to the public? So these are the things we'll be doing. And when we meet them, we talk with them. And so we realize that for some of them, when they say it once, you don't hear it again. And some of them, when they are hot, then they go out again, we call them again. So we have not neglected talking to these people about the things they do. The other thing that we have been talking to our legislators is that when we had the Hank Parliament, in our opinion, we thought this was the best opportunity to resolve some constitutional issues that we have. Appointment by the president and all those issues. We spent 4 years and wasted that opportunity. And yet the same people will come back and tell us the president has power and he's appointing the electoral committee. We have opportunity now, and we wasted the 4 years doing all other things without catching these important issues. So we don't blame anybody. Let's blame ourselves. And let us hold our parliamentarians accountable. It will help us resolve the problem. Nana Hima spoke about meeting with Queen Mothers. We have a program now. We've had some earlier, but we have a program now to meet with our constituents. And when I talk about constituents, I'm talking about the representative institutions that are on the Peace Council. There are 4 representatives of the churches: the Catholic Bishop, the Christian Council, Charismatic Council, the Pentecostal churches. House of Chiefs have 1. Civil society meet with them to see how they can help us to get our work done. So we'll be coming to you, House of Chiefs and Queen Mothers. What do you do to help us? Because you form the Peace Council, and we need to clear the minds of the public. We met with some people on Friday and said they thought that the president appoints all of us. I said the president has no say. The president even gets to know who the chairman is when we go to him to inaugurate us. We choose our own chairperson. But the public's perception is wrong. We represent you. And so if the Queen Mothers and House of Chiefs have a problem, there's a rep of yours on the Peace Council. Call him and say, what are you saying? The Peace Council, the Christian Council has charged me, even their executive meeting, they invite every executive meeting I go there to brief them on what we are doing. Sunday afternoon, the President Church is having a whole program in Mamprobi with all the circuits around. I'm there to speak. And because I belong to Christian Council, when they summon me, I can speak, I must go. Even though I'm tired, I'll go there. So we are gradually moving our members to get back to their constituents and find a way of educating them so that we all get involved in this work. Don't sit back and say, Peace Council, I represent you. Are you with me? The Islamic community, Sheikh, is there representing you. So don't sit in your mosque and scream. He's there. Call him, Sheikh. What is this? He'll clarify. Bishop Yano is sitting there with the Catholics. If there's any problem, he will have an issue where he released a press release. He said, no, the Bishop's Conference must be involved. Let me call them. He called the meeting, came back and said, look, put our name there. We must be part of it. That is how we work. And so we represent all of you. CSOs, there are 2 people there representing CSOs. Don't sit back and pretend as if Peace Council is some institution sitting somewhere. We represent you people. And you must make use of the opportunity that we have. And I think that it will help us to go a long way. These are my humble submission.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Thank you. We'll go to Joyce.
Okay, for me, the concluding remarks, the first one will be for us to really look at the youth factor. because especially the issue with the full base. If you know and really appreciate the youth factor, we will know that there are some young people who are being born from one parent or so, or other complexities when it comes to they migrating. So there's a need for us to look at the youth factor. Also, there's the need for us to appreciate the fact that election is not an event, it's a process. If you appreciate the fact, there will be structural needs that we need to put in place. For instance, there was a mention of the first-time voters. If you appreciate elections as a process, there will be structures to make sure that once it's 18, the opportunities for them to go and register. We wouldn't have to wait for the limited voter registration where a lot of people are marginalized, do certain things. Also, there's a need for us as we collaborate to stress the value of peace and also let people know the opportunity cost of violence. And this also comes to the need for us to really appreciate and understand the structural needs of young people or marginalized groups. Because if you want to preach peace to someone, for me, peace is about having food on my table. For a full day, peace is about having an identity. The person is having an identity crisis and you want to preach peace. Understand what is peace to the person, and then you formulate strategies in addressing them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go to one.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think there was a question about whether NCC is part of the NEG. Yes, and your chair is very, very active on the NEG, and Shraj as well. Yeah, and some of the issues you raised with the EC, I think your chair has also been raising that on the NEG meetings. Yeah. So just concluding remarks. I think I want to emphasize a key point. One is the localization of the interventions or strategies we've spoke about here this morning. Because for many of us here, we are not the target of the politicians. The target of the politicians are those at the grassroots. It is important that whatever strategies we've come up with, we make sure that we localize it at the grassroots level. The second is to emphasize on issues of early response to early warning signals. It's very important. I think the Peace Council and members of the NEG are doing a very wonderful work. Like Reverend said, most of the interventions don't come in the media, so you don't know what is happening behind the scene. But it is important that we emphasize on early response to some of the early warning signals that we have, and all of us have a role, to play. The last point is about the fact that every year we have gatherings like this to talk about how to promote peace, how to ensure inclusivity and all that. And after elections, we go back to sleep. For me, and this is not, I'm not speaking as someone coming from one up, I'm speaking on my own observation. I think that whatever discussion we are having here, we shouldn't only limit it to the upcoming elections. If you look at what is happening around us and even our own internal issues, we can have a peaceful election, but as to whether we can sustain the peace to the next election is another matter. And it is important that we look at the critical issues that is underlying the current issues that we have. And Reverend Edudje mentioned some of the issues, which also has to do with our constitution. And the fact that we need to reform the constitution that we have. We need to advocate, because those who are benefiting from the status quo are not ready to reform. And it's gatherings like this and actors like this who can push for those reforms. Otherwise, one day, we don't hope that what has happened to other countries will happen to us, but these are early warning signs. And I think that we need to move beyond elections to look at how we can promote inclusive governance, democracy, and development in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Obbing. Finally, we'll take that from General, and if you would share with us as we conclude on the see something, say something, what must people do? What should they see, what should they say in order to counter this whole issue of terrorism?
Okay, so I think I would like to thank the Catholic Secretariat and the affiliates. Over the past 2 days, we've been privileged, especially from the Minister of National Security, to be given an opportunity to hear what a segment of our society thinks about their safety and security, and also relative to the elections of 2024. It certainly will help us in our preparations and the little bits pieces of things we have to do to sustain the peace and security we enjoy now all throughout the electoral process and see us beyond 2025. When we say something, it's just an appeal to us to let us understand that security has always been and will always be a shared responsibility. Your contribution may not be in the forms of arms or getting people the evidence that would secure prosecution in court. Your contribution, as our PM mother spoke about, might just be letting someone else next to you that you have seen an anomaly or an occurrence that may disturb the peace and stability of your area. As you mentioned yesterday, this would start from the household level. If there's spousal abuse next door, you don't say you have not heard something that can lead to the disturbance of the peace in your compound house. So you've seen spousal abuse. It's an anomaly. It's a disturbance of the peace. Alert someone else. Maybe alert the landlord if you do not want to alert the police. That's what it means. We just want a behavioral change that we begin to have inculcated in ourselves the culture of reporting or sharing anomalies that disturb peace and comfort zone. So I would like to commend you all for opportunity to be beneficiaries of your ideas for the last days. We would like to know that our peace and security are priceless. If we lose them, it will take us centuries to get back to where we are today. And I believe that we are too smart a people to wish to lose what is priceless. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. Obviously, peace is priceless. We need to protect the peace that we have. The message is simple. We're coming to the end of this program quite sooner than we think. Let me acknowledge who just joined us. General R. Osaki, Research Director, Office of the President. If you wave to us, sitting right in front of us, wave to us so we know you are here. Thank you very much from the Office of the President. Thank you, panelists. Thank you. Another round of applause for them. Thank you very much. Now, we'll have a message, a quick message from Mr. Jacques Kabori, if you are here, and then Bishop Bazi. Quick message from the two. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are reaching the conclusion of this forum, making a crucial step in the journey of Ghanaian people toward flourishing in a secure and conducive environment, I want to express my admiration and gratitude. This forum, through the execution and outputs, has laid the foundation for a preservation of human dignity in as irreversibly contributed to a determined march toward the vision of people of Ghana, both individually and as a nation. The SPI Regional Coordination Team present during these 2 days was impressed by the overall mobilization of strategic actors around the forum. We were particularly struck by the quality of the organization and the relevance of the topics discussed. It's essential for us as a regional team to request that you give a round of applause to the organization committee of this forum. I would like to particularly mention someone here who is very honored. Father Mike, please. Please, Father Mike. I've been said that he has studied diplomatics, and believe me, Ghana is lucky. Again, we are here with a Cote d'Ivoire team, SPI Cote d'Ivoire team. Here, they came to learn, and they told us that Ghana is a powerful lesson-learning country. Key lesson from this forum, from the organization, the quality of the participants was highly representative of the field of peace and security. We noted with joy the effective and engaging involvement of the Ghana states, not only in the strategic and operational planning of the forum, but also through the impactful presence and addresses of His Excellency, the Minister of National Security. From the topics discussed, the terms allow for the sharing of very useful experience and advice for the multifaceted mobilization around the vision of peace for Ghana. Here are some points from the discussions. The phenomenon of violent extremism in all its form must be a common cause requiring the consideration and involvement of everyone's capacities, experience, and resources. Collaboration between states is increasingly recognized as an essential element for effectively combating violent extremism. Education reform, integrating modules of peace and social cohesion, will have a significant impact in the moral and cultural wealth of future generations, thus providing a peaceful foundation for Ghana. As this forum draws to a close, we must look to the future and build our short, medium, and long-term action. The 5 years SPI Ghana strategy is the roadmap and awaits the proof of everyone's generous commitment. Our SPI regional team says to each individual and institution present in Ghana, SPI is for you. SPI is for us. SPI is for those who must play the role. All of us here. God bless you. God bless Ghana. God bless the members of SPI countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
distinguished guests, my brothers in Episcopate, dear brothers and sisters, at the end of this forum, I'm very excited but very anxious. I beg your pardon again for my French English, for the French English I'm going to speak now. And I hope you won't run away when listening to me, please. Today, I don't have much new to say. Yesterday, I shared everything, but allow me to repeat that in SPI, we are building our future, our regional future together. The SPI is not only crucial for the Sahel countries, but for all our countries. The SPI is an initiative for the Sahel, launched in the Sahel for everyone, and I would say for all Africa. The initiative was launched in Ouagadougou 5 years ago to involve every country in our region and to commit them to fight together against violent extremism and all forms of violence in our countries. The second point I would like to address is about our unity for sovereignty in our decisions. We, the citizens of this beautiful continent named Africa, possess two qualities and need a third one to be truly strong. We are young, as we heard just now in the panel, and rich with cultural, economic, and social values and opportunities. And we need unity to be strong to bring happiness to our populations. In a paradigmatic vision, I can say that we are young and rich but not united. This is our main challenge. What I'm saying is not new to you, the citizens of Ghana. One of the greatest initiators of the call to unity and freedom in independent Africa is from this country, Ghana, and is well known throughout the world, Kwame Nkrumah. One of the main streets of Ouagadougou is named Kwame Nkrumah Street. I don't want to engage in politics or enter into your political debates, but I just want to remind you that the unity of Africa will always be one of the main keys to our development and happiness in Africa. Our church in all of Africa is called Family of God. We are building a united family in faith and love. So it should become a mission for SPI too. I invite SPI to work with courage to build a united church and a united Africa. When my brother is suffering, I should suffer with him. When he's in joy, I should be in joy with him, said St. Paul, more or less. So I renew all our congratulations to the SPI, of the Church of Ghana for organizing this forum, and I extend our best wishes to SPI and to all your country for your future elections, your coming elections. I'm sure that after this gathering, this forum, your election will be very, very peaceful. My brother in Episcopate, the Bishop of Cape Coast, mentioned at the beginning of our session today that is there, I think, I am because we are, and we are because I am. I am because we are, and we are because I am. This is a very good expression of our solidarity and brotherhood. Thank you, dear brother Bishop, for saying that. May God bless you, dear brothers and sisters, and may He hear our prayers. Thank you very, very much for your attention. You are all invited to Burkina Faso for our next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Monsignor Bazi, SPI Regional Coordinator and President. Thank you very much for that. We'll come to Burkina Faso, definitely. Thank you. Let's now invite Father Michael. He'll be responding to the question on why some political parties are not here, and also handle the presentation and adoption of the SPI Accord. Thank you very much.
Were the political parties invited? Yes, is the answer. Why they didn't come? I don't know. Yes, those who didn't come, I don't know why they didn't come. Well, I'd rather not. But those who didn't come know themselves, and we all know. But yes, those who came, we thank you very much for coming. What else? Yes, now I'll invite my brother. Well, that has been answered. I'll invite my brother Richard Akogo, who is Executive Director of Caritas Ghana and the Programs Director of SPI, to present to us what we have agreed here, a synthesis of what we have discussed here.
Thank you very much, Father Michael. Permit me to stand on the already established protocols. And having sat here for a long day, I wouldn't want to go off track. So I go strictly by the script I have here. And it is intended that when I'm done with the reading, we'll do a ceremony signing by key stakeholders here as an agreement of what we have collectively done in these 2 days. National Forum on Social Cohesion Security and Peaceful Elections in Ghana. Accord. Accra, 31st July 2024. Preamble. We, the participants of the SPI Ghana National Forum on Social Cohesion, Security and Peaceful Elections, convened in Accra, Ghana on July 30th to 31st, 2024, representing a diverse array of stakeholders, including policymakers, civil society and community leaders, development partners, knowledge and media stakeholders, and diplomatic representations, as well as affected populations, come together to express our united commitment to peace, social cohesion, and stability in Ghana and the broader Sahel region. Recognizing the critical importance of collaborative efforts in addressing the multifaceted challenges facing our societies, we have engaged in constructive discussions and deliberations aimed at formulating actionable recommendations to guide our collective efforts. This declaration serves as a comprehensive agreement on the steps we must take to advance our shared goals of peace, security, and sustainable development. So these agreements have been done by categorization based on stakeholders that we call boundary partners. A, policymakers and political parties. 1, prioritize population protection. Implement and enforce comprehensive policies ensuring the safety and protection of all citizens with a focus on vulnerable and marginalized groups. 2, promote good governance, foster transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption measures at all levels of government to ensure equitable resource distribution and fair governance practices. 3, ensure electoral integrity. Adopt advanced monitoring technologies and establish independent oversight bodies to guarantee free, fair, and transparent elections. 4, encourage inclusive growth. Implement socioeconomic policies aimed at reducing inequalities and promoting inclusive growth, ensuring that all segments of society benefit from economic development. 5, facilitate continuous dialogue. Strengthen multi-stakeholder platforms for ongoing dialogue among political parties, government agencies, and civil society organizations to address grievances and collaboratively implement peace-building initiatives. The next stakeholder group is civil society and community leaders. 1, promote respect for human rights. Educate communities on the importance of respecting human life and dignity, and advocate for the protection of human rights across all societal levels. 2, foster interreligious dialogue. Facilitate and support interreligious dialogue to build mutual understanding, respect, and peaceful coexistence among diverse faith communities. 3, implement grassroots initiatives. Launch and support community-driven projects that address local grievances, promote social inclusion, and enhance community resilience and cohesion. 4, empower youth and women. Develop and implement targeted programs to empower youth and women leaders, enabling their active participation in peace building and community leadership. 5, strengthen networking and collaboration. Encourage the formation of alliances among civil society organizations to amplify their collective impact and effectiveness in advocating for peace and social cohesion. The next boundary partner is development partners. 1, provide long-term, less stringent funding mechanisms for peace-building initiatives. 2, respect local autonomy. Ensure that development interventions are tailored to the specific needs and priorities of local communities, respecting their autonomy and self-determination. 3, end resource exploitation. Advocate for and support measures to prevent the exploitation of resources that fuel conflicts, promoting sustainable and ethical resource management and practices. 4, cease arms sales. Support international efforts to halt arms sales that contribute to the conflict and instability and promote disarmament initiatives. 5, promote human rights education. Use media platforms to educate the public on human rights, respect for life, and the importance of non-violence, promoting a culture of peace. The next partner is knowledge and media stakeholders. 1, research and analysis. Conduct and disseminate research on peace building, social cohesion, and conflict prevention to inform policy and practice. 2, public awareness campaigns. Develop and implement media campaigns that promote narratives of peace, inclusion, and social cohesion, countering extremist and divisive rhetoric. 3, journalistic integrity. Train journalists on ethical reporting practices, particularly on sensitive issues related to conflict and peace building, to ensure accurate and responsible media coverage. 4, accountability. Use media platforms to hold policymakers, political parties, and other stakeholders accountable for their commitments to peace and social cohesion. 5, public engagement. Foster informed public discourse through talk shows, debates, and opinion pieces that encourage citizens to engage in peace-building efforts and hold leaders accountable. The next is affected populations. 1, maintain dignity and resilience. Uphold dignity and resilience in the face of adversity, focusing on constructive and non-violent responses to conflict. 2, reject hatred and vengeance. Avoid cycles of hatred and vengeance, promoting reconciliation and peace-building efforts within communities. 3, engage in community building. Actively participate in initiatives that foster unity, social cohesion, and mutual understanding among diverse community groups. 4, advocate for rights and needs. Peacefully advocate for the protection of rights and needs, seeking support from local and international actors to address grievances. 5, support peaceful solutions. Embrace and support efforts and initiatives that promote peaceful solutions and address the root causes of conflict, contributing to stable and harmonious environment. Conclusion. We, the undersigned, pledge to hold these commitments and work collaboratively towards a peaceful, cohesive, and secure nation. We call upon all stakeholders to honor these recommendations and to continue working together to achieve our shared vision of stability, security, and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, if this actually represents and reflects what we deliberated on from yesterday to today, I call on our key stakeholders. So we will use the people on the panel and some of you front row to sign, signifying our collective agreement to work towards achieving these things I've read. Thank you. We also will invite the political party representatives to join in the signing process.
Johannes.
I'm going to is not throwing a stick in the spokes. When you say we, the undersigned, it's going to be difficult to ask for undersigning the way you are asking. So what I want to suggest is that since there is supposed to be a follow-up to this forum, then I think you just bring it in my opinion, some recommendations from the participants of the forum. And then it doesn't need signatures, but those who organized it, that's all. And then there's going to be a follow-up. My fear is, very often when you are bringing an accord, people would like to have had opportunity to scrutinize every word before it is, made into signed by. So from my personal experience, I think it is proper for the organizers to come up. As to what you have said is excellent, but it's just recommendations, some of the recommendations that came from participants, and it would be good even to include the various, not the names of the participants, but the various stakeholders, FBO, CSOs, and the rest of it. And there's going to be a follow-up where you are going to call stakeholders to then come up with, because I find it slightly long. You might have an opportunity where people will not read it, and it will make this whole thing into a talk shop. Whereas if you intend to have a follow-up, this can come up as a press release, recommendations that give with the hope of a follow-up, and you will then pick out the real stakeholders to do. As I said, I hope and pray I am not putting a stick in the spokes, but it is just to ensure that your inclusivity does not end up also excluding certain hard-line opinions that were given. There were very, very hard opinions that were given, and therefore we don't want to gloss over everything, but you're only giving some recommendations. Again, please, if I have made any sins, I ask for forgiveness from all of them, traditional leaders, Islamic leaders, ecclesiastical leaders, non-believers and all, please.
Your Excellency, it's a very, very wise counsel. and I think we will abide by it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of the SPI National Forum on Social Cohesion, Security, and Peaceful Elections. We thank you all for your time, but to do the proper thank you in the Ghanaian way, we will invite Most Reverend Emmanuel Fianu, Bishop of Ho, and his Vice President to the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, Most Reverend Emmanuel Fianu, to thank us all. Thank you.